Before us is the main gate of the district number 9. Someone asked to stop. Weapons were sent to Xiao and his comrades. The guy asked what they forgot here. This is not a place for walking, but a dangerous object. Shihao replied that they were ordinary students. They need to leave the city to settle some business, and he asked to let them go. The guy exclaimed, interested in what students could do outside the city at such a time. It is forbidden to leave the city. He asked them to dump them, otherwise they would have to arrest them. Luo Feng asked how he was a 10th level guard dare to indicate them. Does he understand who they are at all? Shihao asked him not to be so impulsive. They are diligent students who do not want to harm, and showed the guard his pass. The guard was very surprised and asked where he got him from. He never saw such before. Or he thinks that he has an advantage only due to the fact that this first worker can this pass is generally false. Then the captain came up and asked to stop idling, rather drive them away. The guard explained that these students show an unknown pass and claim that they have the right to leave the city. When the captain looked at the pass, his jaw dropped. He called the guy a moron, and he exclaimed that this was a pass of the highest level of the Hanmo group. How he could not recognize him or his training was in vain. The captain told the respected guests that their dear presence is an honor for their station. Can he find out where they would like to go? He can provide a motorcade, which will accompany them directly to their place of their purpose. In the end, it is dangerous outside the city. Shihao replied that they were not worth it since they have their own agreements. Just asks them to open the gate. Huan Tian said what she was doing. For the first time it goes beyond the city, so it is so nervous. Luo Feng asked to calm down. Don't they just go to the wild? Training outside the city is an unprecedented rarity. The captain, looking at them in the back, thought that Shi Chao was the one with whom the authorities said not to take their eyes off. Does he think that there is something special in him? He told the sister that this guy named Shihao had just left the city, and he asked what to do next. She replied that the meeting with him guarantees a fortune. It is necessary to carefully follow them and constantly report their location. She asked him to be accurate so that no one would notice him. Meanwhile, there are 9 outside the district. Shihao said that the world looks like that outside the safe zone. Luo Feng said that this is what remains of the old world, which is now devastated and in decline. Huan Tian said that she saw only photographs and video of wildlife on the internet and books. But only when you see all this live, you begin to feel the injection atmosphere of the apocalypse. But after all, the air is much fresh here. What other apocalypse? Luo Feng asked the boss whether they were going to get to the dungeon. The boy asked not to panic. He already found transport for them. They were very lucky, since these places in theory are now absolutely safe. All the monsters are hiding in their holes. And if they meet someone along the way, they will be able to test their skills and gain experience. They are important members of the Royal Combat Team, so even if they don't dare to think that they are a burden for him. The guys asked what kind of Royal Combat Team. Shihao replied that they had almost come to the meeting place, and he asked to discuss this on the way. Is this a combat team created by him? Is it all that happens under the leadership of the rich company Hanmo? Huan Tian exclaimed that it was amazing, whether they can join too. Luo Feng said that this name is so cool as it was expected from it. Nevertheless, he could join the combat team A Black Attack and climb to the top of his life. Luo Feng added that he could only defeat a high-level boss, and they are new to the 10th level. Shihao replied that this is why he leads them to the dungeon of a 40th level. If there are any shortcomings in their techniques, then in this raid they polish them to the ideal. A SUV appeared in front of them. A talented and courteous fat man appeared. He told the brother that he did not expect to see them again so soon. He was slightly surprised when Shi Chao asked for help. And why did he not tell him before that such a beauty would be with him? And for such a case it was necessary to get dressed up. He exclaimed that he was very glad to meet. His name is Shu Shaozi, and he is a hunter for relics. This area is similar to his backyard, so that he can protect it. The girl thanked him and said that she would be Huan Tian in his care. She noticed that the level of this person is very high. It seems to be a close friend of Shi Chao, and he is too enthusiastic and brave. Luo Feng said that he could definitely say that he was an elite talker, judging by his appearance. This shield looks very cool. The fat man laughed and replied that it was expected. It can be seen that he knows his business. If something is incomprehensible, then he may ask him. Shihao told them already through a communication device that their destination zone with 87. The fat man replied that they could go there in half a day. They were there before, but for some reason, they did not notice the entrance to the dungeon. Shihao explained that this dungeon can be opened only with the help of a key. Then I took out my key. He noticed that his reliability has decreased significantly, but he can still have time to use it. The fat man said that the card in his hands looks very detailed. Is the coordinates accurate in it, and a detailed description of the area, which is invaluable for relic hunters. The boy exclaimed that of course this card is real. She was personally drawn by Mu Wei. Then suddenly the fat man hit the brakes. He stopped and grabbed Xiao Hao by the shoulder. Was this map really created by the most legendary hunter for the relics of Mu Wei? The boy exclaimed that it was really she. But why does he react so much? Does he really know something about her? The fat man said that in a two-way you could not say. He will tell him everything along the way. In the eyes of most people, they are holly hunters. These chewing mercenaries do not differ from each other. In their opinion, the difference is that they do not rob people, but ruins. But everything is so only at first glance. In fact, their real goal is to find the truth of this world. That is why they are required to explore some ruins for others without stopping. Shi Hao asked what truth of the world he was talking about. Then the fat man asked if no one wondered how and why the OL era arose on Earth. He just has such an impression. Huan Tian remembered that she had already heard several theories before. Someone said that this world is a dream. Someone that this is just a huge hologram. Some generally claim that they were just numbers in a huge database. And all this is just a big game in which the fate and thoughts of each person are controlled by artificial intelligence. Luo Feng exclaimed that these are very old versions, and now you will rarely hear about them. Shi Hao said that after so many centuries, people may already be accustomed to such a life. So they try not to think about the past. The fat man replied that this does not mean at all that everything really should be so. They firmly believe that there is a reason for everything. One has only to continue to dig the ruins of past years, and once they will certainly open the truth. Shi Hao did not expect that so many philosophical thoughts were hiding under his appearance of frivolous informal. The fat man asked not to praise him. In fact, these are all the thoughts of the detachment commander. How he can have such thinking. It's just that all the members of their detachment were very passionate about his ideas, so they are under the leadership of their commander. Shi Hao thought that such an attitude towards him was for a reason. The commander told him about his petty position, which sounded funny. After all, such a horizons and level of thinking are not characteristic of an ordinary person. The fat man said that according to rumors, the legendary hunter for relics Mu Wei was very close to unraveling the truth, but he disappeared many years ago. If his card is really drawn, then perhaps it is the key to the unraveling of the truth of the world. Shi Hao replied that he was looking for half an hour, and so he did not really see anything. Even if they manage to find the truth of the world, what will happen next? Will life somehow change? The fat man exclaimed that he did not understand. Indeed, in fact, one legend is going on among the relics for relics a long time ago. This legend says that if someone finds the truth of the world, then he will be able to restart this world. Then he will become a king. Shi Hao exclaimed that he first hears about it. Huan Tian and Luo Feng said that if this is true, then it is very interesting. Huan Tian said that if she restarted the world, she would certainly have turned into a sorceress, and everywhere love and peace would reign. Luo Feng said that if he changed the world, he would become the lord of all living beings on Earth. Shi Hao asked the guys to postpone their dreams until at least a minimum level was reached. This legend is too unreal. It is better for them to focus on what is really happening now. The fat man replied that he was right, but he also needs to dream. Shi Hao thought that the word to dream at their time was a luxury. All that now we need to do is strive to achieve your goals and not dream. But if you think so, what is his dream? The fat man said that if you manage to find Mu Wei, you can get the key to the universe. So this is definitely not a dream, but an achievable goal. Shi Hao thought that the director should be much more about Mu Wei. When he finishes with the dungeon, he will definitely find out everything from him. Suddenly, the boy asked the fat man to stop the car as they had already arrived. The guys asked if it was an entrance to the dungeon. They did not see anything ahead. Shi Hao explained that of course the entrance is hidden. The activation is needed for the highest degree. Otherwise, it would have long been devastated by other people. The boy said that first they need to deal with their adhesive stuck. The fat man also noticed that they had been following them all the way. Huan Tian asked what he had in mind by the word sticking. Luo Feng realized that he had in mind that someone was following them. They immediately began to look around. The fat man exclaimed that he was an exploration specialist. They still have to learn a lot. They were a little surprised, since there was a disguised shield ahead. An explosion occurred. They began to cough and realized that someone outwitted them. Luo Feng said that someone really pursued them, but he did not notice anything. He realized that the guard was in front of them, but could not understand why they pursued them. The man asked the guys not to understand them incorrectly. He was not completely sure of their safety, but they did not allow them to accompany them. Therefore, secret persecution is the only option that they accepted to protect them. Xiao Hao put his sword to his throat and asked if it was hard for them. The man replied that not at all, this is their service. But to assign the blade to another person, a little rude. Xiao exclaimed that he did not even want to waste time explaining, and he added that it was time to finish their conversation. The man said that they obviously confused him with someone. He has lush hair, but he is only 28 years old. He is no nonsense old horseradish. The guard commander called the guy to himself a freak. How he dared to direct a sword at him. If in their detachment there was no person with 55th levels, they would have been praying for mercy for a long time. The man handed over a military signal of gestures, a triangular offensive construction. The commander sends these signals to his people. As soon as that boy begins to act, they will counterattack. They have only one person with a high level. The rest should not be afraid. Shihao said that, if so, he is grateful for their attention and care. They should trust more and help each other. The boy changed his decision sharply. It is better to reveal their conspiracy under the pretext of friendship. The commander replied that they were really lucky that they had survived in that disaster. He thought that this kid is the son of the director of the corporation, Hanmo. He asked Shichao to tell him why they were, despite the risks with the whole company, came to these wild places and what their goal was. Shihao asked what kind of lord he was at all. And if you answer the question, that is, what to share. They planned to clean up a new dungeon, and he asked if they wanted them. Luo Feng thought that the boss best able to lure people into the pit. Zhuantian thought that this bunch of wise men thinks that they were winning here. The commander exclaimed if they were joking. This key is at least a 40 level. Did they really plan to activate him and decided that they would cope with everything? Luo Feng replied that therefore they called them, were they really scared? Didn't they say that they want to protect them? Is this really their courage? Huantian laughed and exclaimed that these were the defenders of their 9th region. It is not surprising that all evil spirits are constantly attacking them. So this is the reason. The man noticed that the language of this girl shows her entire rotten nature. The commander's warriors said that it was impossible to allow this dairy, who also did not see their lives, to talk with them. They must make them see their entire coolness. The commander thought that he had no experience in stripping the dungeons. This dungeon is most likely designed for 5 people. Although he has a desire to go with them, he cannot abandon his comrades. The commander said that he was very sorry. Shihao explained that this is a dungeon for 5 to 10 people. They can enter everything. The guys from another detachment said that if so, now they will recognize the meaning of the word professional. They suggested that the lads go to clean this dungeon. The commander thought that in order to answer for his words, he would now have to go there with these muddy guys, and this is very dangerous. You just need to dump everything on these school children. The most important thing is to pull the time and wait for the coming of the mistress. Shihao thanked them for his escort. The commander exclaimed that they could rely on them. Shihao gave the command to go. The commander decided just in case to leave the signaling device here so that the lady knew their coordinates. It was a smart signal device. Installation, which is included in the standard configuration of a guard, in which the signal transmission range is very high. And here is the dungeon of the Forest of Fate, the recommended level of 40. They noticed that this dungeon is very beautiful. And it is so large, not like a 40th level. The fat man was right. You cannot predict exactly what the dungeon will be. And this is also a giant tree. It is incredibly high. The fat man said that he could assume that there was a final boss there. Luo Feng hoped that in the next battle he would share his precious experience with him. The fat man laughed and replied that they would see that he would come out of this. It is better to let him be behind him. Shihao asked Weiss carefully analyze this dungeon. Is it possible to build a fortress here? The robot replied that this dungeon is suitable for building a fortress, but it will have a maximum of 3 stars. Shihao thought that this was not suitable for his 5-star standard. It seems this time when stripping they can only gain experience. Huan Tian asked them to look up. Something moves on them very quickly. It was some kind of bird. A huge flying dragon, 25th levels, flew on them. What a bird can be. If this is a dragon, the commander exclaimed that they have him and do not panic. He asked his guys to listen to his team and rather open fire towards the enemy. Shihao did not expect this from them. They fight on their side without any indignation, which is simply amazing. The commander said that the tiny flying dragon of the 20th level dared to attack them. Isn't he in the know that it is forbidden to fly over them? Then he laughed. The members of the detachment praised the commander and said that he was the best. With him, they are definitely safe. Suddenly, a stinging dragon of a 40th level appeared. The dragon managed to grab one of the members of the detachment. The guy immediately screamed in pain and began to ask for help. The guard was in the west of the dragon. And not only he is alone, they only came, but already lost half of the people. The commander asked the fat man with 55th level not to stand, but to help them. His level is higher than his, but he protects him. Is the boy mocking him? The fat man asked Xiao to help him. The boy replied that they still need to do a lot. They don't know how many strong monsters are here, so these guys will definitely come in handy. The fat man asked everyone to part and not to interfere under his feet. He will destroy such a weak monster in 2 scores. Shihao was reminding mystical eggs. They suddenly moved to the stage of an uncontrolled reaction. He became interested in, from hunger. It is, or from pain. Did they really feel the breath of relatives, so they decided to hatch? The system said that the mystical egg has still unstable condition. Shihao was very surprised that after such a long lull, it suddenly began to move. Is it really someone to hatch from him soon? So will not go. He decided to try to reassure him with the ingredients accumulated in the storage. Use the language of chest with treasures, and leg of the chest with treasures, in order to calm the mystical egg. Shihao realized that it was finally calmed down, but something was wrong with him anyway. Weiss asked, does it really want to hatch? But because of the lack of strength, he can't break through the shell. The boy replied that it was quite possible. Since he so wants to hatch, then he will help him. Xiao Hao picked up the dragon's huge heart. He asked the egg to eat this heart, which would give him so much strength that the shell would be opened in 2 counts. Is he really afraid of the breath of his highest relative? But this is just a piece of meat. What is to be afraid here? If he cannot even decide on this, then it is better for him to remain an egg for the rest of his life. The boy noticed that this egg is so naive it could also be angry. The egg seemed to make some sounds. Shihao asked to give him to see what it was in the end. Weiss advised the guy to break this egg as soon as possible. The robot was very surprised. A very powerful impetus occurred. Shihao exclaimed that this was pretty good, which he expected. The system congratulated the owner on the receipt of a fighting pet and asked him to come up with a name. Shihao said that being his name should definitely be impudent. Therefore, he decided to name his red comet. Meanwhile, the commander fought with the stinging dragon. Although they did not work out the first time, he exclaimed that he had to deal with it. Around him were some bright yellow lightning. Looking ahead, he saw a dragon of Xiao in front of him and was surprised. What is this monster near the guy? Although it does not matter. He has only the 6th level. Anyone will destroy it in a second. One of the members of the detachment sent a weapon in their direction. He exclaimed that now his turn to hunt. It is a pity that they will not really receive experience from him. The dragon flew towards him angrily growling. He broke the guy's weapon in one movement, then flew up to the fat man. But the fat man said, turning to the dragon, that he did not touch him. Why is he biting his shield? The commander called the guys a herd of garbage. Even with a monster of the 6th level, they cannot figure it out. He exclaimed that they would now show them skill. Shihao asked him to stop. After all, this dragon is his just-born fighting pet. He himself did not know that this dragon would show such hostility to others, and immediately apologized. The fat man said that although they were friends, it is already too much. Shihao must pay for the repair of his account. Huan Tian, seeing the dragon, asked if this was really the egg that he received in the forest. It really hatched. It is simply incredible. She ran to him and said that she was waiting for him very much, and asked to go to her sister rather. But why did he think to bite? Shihao asked not to touch him. He just hatched, and therefore fears the rest. The boy stroked the dragon and said that it was his comrades. He asked to remember them. Then there was some strange sound. Everyone instantly turned their heads in that direction. Shihao exclaimed that it seems the owner of this forest is not happy with them, or he felt the presence of a red comet. The commander said that they had just survived such a major battle. Although they became much less, he came to the conclusion that the monsters here are not so dangerous. He proposed to divide to speed up the search, and then gather near that large tree. Shihao replied that this is a good plan. If something happens, then he asked to immediately contact him. The commander thought that this kid was continuous problems. Yes, and he himself is dangerous for them. He certainly does not have the 6th level. Therefore, it is better to divide now, and then just watch him from the side. He decided that this is really the best option. Huan Tian said that for the first time she was cleaning the dungeon. It is so exciting and exciting. Does it not seem to them that this dungeon looks like a version of a paradise monastery in a dark forest? The rest of the guys agreed with her. Shihao said that the fat man is also an experienced hunter. With his rich experience in the study of ruins, they will clean him without any problems. Does he have any ideas about other dungeons of this world? What dungeons he had already encountered? The fat man explained that the main task of hunters for ruins to look for traces of the old world. Shihao noticed that if they do not receive information about this dungeon before cleaning it, then there will be problems. The fat man replied that only professional teams from large corporations could do this. It is said that large companies use many different teams to study the dungeons before cleaning. Some make cards explore unknown territories. This is the intelligence department. Others monitor the number of monsters and identify methods of combating them. This is the survival department. Still others monitor the number of fauna and methods of destruction. This is the department of murders. Someone explains the riddles and determines the intellect of local monsters. This is a department of secrets. And he can say with confidence that without such preparation, it is not so simple to clean the dungeon. The only thing they can do this to adapt and become stronger. Huantian said that there are so many types of dungeons that are both dangerous and interesting. If only there were a dungeon with a girl of the goddess. But before the girl had time to finish, a huge Spinosaur of a 40-level appeared behind her. Suddenly, the Dragon Xiao dragon came to the rescue. She apologized to the dragon and exclaimed that it was all because of her, then thanked him for his help. Shihao also thanked the Red Comet for excellent work. The dragon roared with a formidable roar. How he dares to do so with him. He promised to swallow it without even biting it. Shihao was surprised that this monster knows how to talk. The fat man asked, "Was it not an ordinary roar?" Weiss explained to the owner that the Red Comet recognized the owner in him, so their characteristics and abilities became common. Thanks to this, he now understands the language of dragons. He has a hierarchical connection with him. Simply put, at what level will be Sheo, on this is the dragon. When he switches the accounts, his characteristics and appearance will also change. Shihao exclaimed that it was interesting. If he now uses the account of the Emperor of the Red Flame, then his fiery characteristics will also improve. The terrible dragon shouted to the little one so that he would rather die and call him insignificance. It was a huge Spinosaur of a 40th level. He called the little dinosaur a miserable jerk, and he decided that his trick would no longer work. He promised to turn him into ashes. The fat man said that the Red Comet is very inferior in the level of this dragon. He is afraid that if they do not take measures, then everything will be very bad. But Shihao asked them not to intervene. Huantian asked why. After all, he needs their help. He explained that this was his fighting pet. If he does not cope with such a weak monster, then do not regret his death. Huantian said he was ruthless, and the boy thought that if their forces are synchronized, then such a mob is not a problem for him. He does not know what his dinosaur planned, but specially pretending to be weak. The Spinosaur laughed and said that Small was sifting anger from the loss on a tree. He called him really weak. How still he laughs to resist. He promised not to leave even bones from him. He asked the Dinosaurus, calling the freak to stop. After all, this is all useless. He asked him to give up, and promised to take a breath. After which he was definitely the end. A little dinosaur began to growl and erupt the flame. Spinosaur shouted that he was hot, that he was doing it all. A little dinosaur took a knife in one paw, in the other fork, and introduced a barbecue in front of him, eagerly licking. The Spinosaurus growled and began to call him, but his strength was already running out. Luo Feng noticed a level increase. Huantian is the same. And all this was thanks to the dragon. The fat man exclaimed that the dragon, as it seemed to him, had just said the word barbecue. Shihao agreed with him, because he really said so. He asked him to attack the monster, and then saw that a tree with leaves and petals that he took has a special aroma. This is clearly some kind of spice. Does he feel the smell of barbecue? The fat man replied that he was an expert on delicious food. This smell causes his appetite. The guys exclaimed that it is not surprising that the meat smells so tasty. The dragon turned out to be a gourmet. He brought a piece of meat to his owner. Shihao asked if it was for him. The boy stroked the dragon on the head and immediately praised, because he knows his job. The guys exclaimed that they were all very hungry and offered to have lunch rather. From another detachment, the aroma of fried meat began to smell. They did not even feel the smell of bread that is in their hands. This is the temptation of the devil. One of the guys asked not to pay attention and not sniff. How delicious it smelled. The commander asked them to shut up all. When they receive money for completing the assignment, they will be able to buy any food that they only wish. The guys immediately agreed with him, smiling maliciously. What is happening at all? The commander thought why the mistress still did not appear. This kid becomes more dangerous and dangerous for them. They may not cope. The success of this mission completely depends on the skills of the mistress. She came to this forgotten place to destroy her enemy and get a reward. Misha was 85th levels, and now her hunt is already beginning. The fat man did not think that they would cope with him so easily. He didn't even have to do anything. He destroyed the red comet. He is unrealistically strong. Huan Tian exclaimed that they now have a lot of delicious meat, and they easily pumped 10 levels thanks to the dragon. Luo Feng said that the animal of the boss was simply awesome. He also wanted this to himself. The fat man advised to discard such thoughts. Such pets are very rare. Besides, in order to feed it a lot of money, he will not be able to afford it. Fighting pets, which from birth can fight monsters, are very rare. Luo Feng said that such a chosen one of heaven, like their boss, a fighting pet should have exactly such a level. Shi Hao noticed that they had already dispersed something. It seems everyone is already accustomed to his crook. Suddenly, the fat man exclaimed that he suddenly had one idea how to make money. Shi Hao immediately asked exactly what the idea. He eagerly asked to lay out everything as it is. The guy began to explain that in wild places there are ruins called the Arena of Animals. From time to time, competitions of the strongest pets are held in this place. The name speaks for itself. It turns out that the strongest fighting pet is determined there, and the champion receives a huge prize. In addition to money, there are also many rare items, up to the point that you can get legendary equipment. Therefore, ruins attract people from around the world. This is a very popular event. Shi Hao was very surprised that there are such competitions. This world is much richer than he thought. The fat man explained that with the power of the red comet, they will certainly make money. And he asked Hao to him about his idea. When the prize is already large, they can go there and cut the dough. Shi Hao immediately agreed. After all, perhaps under this pretext, he will be able to get some rare equipment. He must expand his knowledge of this world, while they are locked in the safe zone of information. Luo Feng told his boss that he also wants to go. He asked to take him with him. Huan Tian also wanted to go with them. Xiao has already noticed the pursuers out of the corner of his eye. Finally, they dared to appear. The dragon began to erupt the flame with all his might. Huan Tian was already afraid of turning to him. The pursuers noticed that they were discovered. The cat groaned, as possible. Some girl who pursued this group pulled her arrow and released her towards Xichao. The boy exclaimed that their attacks and weapons are too primitive. If they want to kill him, then they should find another way. Shi Hao asked who they were. Why did they attack them unexpectedly? The fat man asked if they were really the natives of this dungeon. Shi Hao was surprised at the words of the fat man, and asked if they had NPS. The fat man replied that there are usually no people in dungeons with monsters. There is an extremely rare probability that you can find people's natives. It seems that the kinship of Shi Chaos with the Emperor provoked this. Shi Hao asked to look at himself how they differ from these aborigines. Only replied that the characteristics of the natives are usually associated with the type of dungeon. Although there is a difference between them, they definitely have some kind of common feature. That is, the eternal maintenance of the initial update, or in other words, immortality. Huan Tian exclaimed that it was the dream of all girls to remain forever young. The fat man said that this is just the opposite is not very good. Rare residents of these dungeons cannot leave him themselves. They are often attacked by people. The denouement is very cruel. The fat man explained that they are all taken out of the dungeons and sold for a lot of money either to merchants or research centers, and they become objects for research. As for these two, although they do not see their faces, but according to their type and figure, we can say that they are of the highest quality goods, and they will certainly be stolen. Shi Hao said that in this world, people can go to the lowest actions, only to get benefits. He told his opponents that they were lucky. Although he loves money, he will never do such things. It is better for them to leave and find some place and hide there, because in this dungeon, there is not only them. The girl asked why she should obey the stranger, and said that he should leave. She will never let him destroy these clean, serene jungle. Her cat fully supported her. Shi Hao exclaimed that they were really strangers, but one way or another, he is a person who discovered this dungeon, and roughly speaking, this dungeon belongs to him, and they also belong to him. Therefore, as he wants, it will be so. Now it's not their turn to be the masters here. He is not worried about the natives or some forest sages. People who decided to prevent him from interfering with him. There will be only one finale, and this is death. The girl immediately called her cat and began to run away. Shi Hao asked where they ran so frightened. Although their level is unknown, they look quite tender and cowardly. This is because they never talked with other people. Let them not blame him for cruelty and believe that this was the first life lesson. The girl was surprised why a person with a 6th level was so fierce. They should no longer provoke it. The cat replied that he really wanted to kill them. It's good that they fled faster, and that would have been corpses. No wonder they pursue them all the way. Then, a commander of another detachment appeared in front of them. He could not think that they would meet such a first-class product, and he told the boss that they were lucky. The girl asked what happened to this world. Peaceful times have been preserved here for millennia, so why the invaders have invaded here now? The cat answered his mistress that now is not the time to think about it. First, you need to fight them. One of the guys noticed that this baby has a good body. However, it is not known which face is hidden under this mask. The second replied that there was no difference, just no need to shoot it. In the current defiled world, it is not so often possible to find the highest grade natives. She asked for a bunch of shameless people to go away. One of the guys noticed that she had an explosive character, and he asked for permission to 2 brothers to demonstrate her all the cruelty of this world. The leader asked to handle her carefully. If they inflict some wound to her, then she will lose her value. The girl just struck several guys with just 1 blow. The guard exclaimed that they completely forgot that they were in a 40-level dungeon. Local monsters can be very dangerous. He realized that this time they could not cope without his help. The girl asked what was wrong with them. They are insignificant, much weaker than that guy of the 6th level. The guard realized that he was talking about Shi Chao, and does not have time to dodge the attack. The girl asked not to relax on the battlefield. Suddenly some group of people appeared. Misha did not expect luck on his side. Who would have thought that you could meet such rare natives? The guard noticed that the older sister finally came. He decided to leave the savage on her and no longer interfere. She asked him to disappear and not flicker before his eyes. The girl noticed that she was really 85th level. Moreover, she feels a strong thirst for blood. She must have killed a lot of people and she has no chance to win. The cat asked not to heroize. Death will not bring anything good to this world. It remains to find the right moment and escape. They realized that we should rather run away. Misha exclaimed that no one could hide from her sight. She called her a stupid girl, and she asked not to make rash decisions. She needs her alive. The girl asked for her cat Meow Bao, rather to step aside. Suddenly, very strong shackles constrained her. These were the spider shackles of the 60th level. Last 60 seconds. The cat hated such techniques, and he ran to save her. The girl asked the cat not to fit. Do not worry about her. It is better to run away soon. She is too strong, and they will not be able to defeat her. The cat answered the hostess that he would help. He decided to find those people of the 6th level. The guard asked the cat to stop, so that he does not even dare to run away. Misha said that his owner is in their hands, so do not worry, and he has other things. She gave the command to put up and hide it in a secret place, and then wait for her arrival. It is necessary not to forget that she needs her whole and unharmed. The guy replied that he would cope with such a simple task, and asked his older sister not to worry. Misha asked if she opened that book. Initially, she thought that she was an ordinary spoiled child of the rich, but she came closer to her incomprehensible power. The guard said that even if her talent was not fully manifested, but in her hands the power of the dragon family, as well as the war of the 50th level. This is an unusual product. The man asked his older sister what story this girl Yahao has, why the leadership so wants to get it. Misha replied that this was confidential information. She herself does not know all the subtleties. The order of the authorities try to lure her to you. If she does not obey, then kill her. Compared to a boring bait, the hunt cheers her mood. This old tree is simply incredible. From afar it seems so big, but coming closer, it turns out that it obscures the whole sky. Shi Hao hoped that there was something valuable near this tree. Otherwise this campaign could be considered a waste of time. Luo Feng said that it would not be difficult for them to rise to the 30th level, as well as update the equipment. Luo Feng replied that if people from the school saw it, they would die with envy. Zhuantian thanked Shi Chao and Xiaolong. She promised to know their expectations. The girl asked the dragon what happened, why he suddenly became so nervous. Shi Hao asked to calm down and said that everything was fine. Then suddenly behind him appeared the cat of that girl. He called Shi Hao guest. The boy realized that if he came alone, then his owner is in trouble. The cat replied that the invaders were seized the same as them. He needs to save her and she is not his owner. She is his partner. Huan Tian noticed that this cat was able to talk. It seemed sweet to her. He was surprised why they thought she was a cat. Is it really so perfectly disguised? Shi Hao noticed that she was given a dialect. The cat asked how to be then, since they recognized who she really was. In the end, they are all comrades, so why they do not listen to her and do not want to help her friend. Shihao asked how it turned out that its owner was stolen by a gang-bearded man. You can't help her either, but what benefit he will receive. The cat promised that they would not leave him without a reward. She promised to give him a crystal. He is very beautiful, sparkles and shines. Shihao realized that this was the oldest mountain crystal, this subject of heroic quality. He asked where she got this thing. This find is very rare. The cat replied that she has not only one stone, she has a whole mine. If only it helps, then these stones will become it. Shihao was very surprised and said that this is not like the truth. Does she deceive them? This little animal got angry and called the guy a discharge, as he could think in general she is deceiving. Weiss said that the manner of communication of this animal leaves much to be desired. Shihao told the cat that they would trust her for the first time. He asked not from a kind of cat animal. If he demonstrates a sweet face, then they will help him. She asked why he decided that she would be so humiliated. Shihao told the animal that if he behaves like that, then the conversation was over, and turning away said goodbye to him. The little animal asked the boy to wait a bit. She decided to do this, but only once. And she began to take off the mask from the muzzle, thinking that he will do everything for Chi-Chi. Even so, humiliating things do not matter to her. Having removed the mask, the little animal asked for good brothers and sister to help save her comrade. Under the mask was a very cute cat. Huan Tian immediately hugged the cat, calling her a cutie. And she said that she really likes this cat. The little animal whispered that she could not breathe. She hugs her too tightly. The fat man and Luo Feng asked the girl to calm down, as they also wanted to hug a cat. Luo Feng explained that he had met only cruel monsters of the Koshachi clan, but this creature is an exception. The cat immediately got angry and released the claws. She could still forgive the girl, but with these two smelly martens, she would not allow her one hair to touch. Shihao also noticed that this kitty is very sweet. Why she is trying to be such a Zelyuka? This is not at all to her face. It shows that it is very sincere. He holds his word, so he decided to help. The boy launched the system of an all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye was launched. A duplicate of the nearest territory appeared in front of him. Shihao noticed that someone appeared 85th levels. Apparently the commander of their detachment finally appeared. The fat man asked why they stopped. Do they not need to save the owner of the cat? The cat got angry, because it is right to say a partner. Shihao asked to set aside all this, because they themselves will find them, so there is no need to waste energy. Meanwhile, Misha laughed at newcomers. In the wake of the battle, it is very easy to determine their location. They do not even know that the hunter breathes in their backs. This will be a real surprise for them. Then the girl saw something in front of her. It was a bright flash of fire. Very dangerous. She almost fell into a trap. Was it really the attack of the werewolf or friend of that she-chaos? The girl noticed that the attacks do not stop. A dragon appeared in front of her. Shihao was already nearby and noticed that the girl was very surprised and did not expect a meeting with him. Did she think she could hunt for them? But they were ahead of her. She realized that he was holding that attack. It was an unexpected gift for the first meeting. She did not think that he was at least capable of something. Misha realized that this guy was really good. The boy was grateful to her praise. He did not think that the squad commander would fall on the bait. A big catch, and even with such a beautiful mermaid. The dragon burned with rage. The girl went closer to Shao. She touched his chin with a finger and asked where such an eloquent, handsome man came from. It is a pity that ordinary flattery will not be enough to satisfy it. The girl explained that he could not cope. Shihao asked where she had such thoughts about satisfaction. For such a mermaid, his pond will be too small. He is more interested in which corporation she belongs. He listed all the corporations. She could not even think that from the first time he would be able to guess. Since he is so smart, she decided to tell the truth. And he introduced herself to him that she belonged to Huan, to the Gensky detachment of mercenaries. I came here to recruit people to the troops. The boy was surprised that she made such a way for the sake of ordinary recruitment. However, she should know that he already has a Hanmo troops. The girl explained that their finances are no different from Hanmo. Only his consent will be needed, and there he will already set the conditions. He will definitely not be disappointed. She hates people most who do not fulfill their promises. Shihao immediately replied that he was refusing. She was surprised that he did not even really think. It seems to her that he does not realize the situation in which he is. If he continues to build a devil, then knows who. then her patience will burst. Shi Hao asked what he should do now. The girl replied that she usually does not do this, but he thinks he should join Huanzheng. Something sensible can be made of it. So she gives him the last chance. The girl again asked what his choice was, without releasing a gun from her hands. But the boy stood on his own and refused again. Misha exclaimed that she was counting on his prudence and instantly shot. The boy spent a puppet card. He said that there was no limit to her cruelty. She killed a man and did not even blink an eye. She is not a mermaid, but obviously piranha. The girl replied that she was already talking about the fact that she was not interesting to her, so she was very sorry. Shi Hao thought that it was not surprising that he could not recognize the puppet. The level of her card exceeds him. How inattentive he is. Misha exclaimed that he was still young. Did he really think that one sudden attack could somehow harm her? At first she wanted to teach him a lesson, but now he was destined to die. The boy thought that despite the fact that this is a silent shot, you can always feel where energy comes from. She shot right in a red comet. The red comet reads the battles of a heavenly thief from the race of dragons. The struggle for the eternal dream began. Shi Hao could not understand how he could forget about the blow from behind. Previously, he calmly defeated the monsters, but how he began to neglect PvP, it became more difficult. You get away only at the time, so you can pay with life. Moreover, when his opponent of such a high level of skill is obvious that he will not cope with her. Huan Tian saw that the dragon was dying. She wanted to save him. But Luo Feng asked not to do this, because the enemy is too strong. If she sticks his head, then the bullet will hook it. The fat man asked her to calm down. The dragon had a little more health. Shi Hao will definitely find a way to help him. You just need to trust. Shi Hao gave him a potent medicine to restore full health and mana. He watered it with this medicine so that the dragon was getting better. When the dragon came to his senses, the guy calmed down when he saw that he had a full supply of strength. He was proud that he was his pet, even when they did not retreat on the verge of death. Misha wanted to burn everything here, and they wanted to stop her. Are they really so naive? This so senseless shooting did not even hurt them. She used to think that he was just lucky, but now he was not even moving. He is really confident and crazy, although he set a shield. But how long he will last. She was of a better opinion about him. He thought he was really strong, but he turned out to be an ordinary asshole. She decided to break through his defense first, and then talk. Shi Hao apologized to the Red Comet, as his carelessness caused him pain. The former experience of the battle in the appearance of the Emperor of the Shadow against the rare creatures of the 90 level helped him get used to the basics of the battle. Only thanks to the red flame of the Emperor they still somehow pull to the 60th level. But this will not be enough if they encounter 85th levels with the enemy. Previously, the battles were completely dependent on Donut. All the experience gained was completely useless. He asked the system how much experience he has. The system explained that at the moment the value of the owner's experience reaches 1,300,000. Shi Hao said that their opponent is just a sniper. Probably she has no normal things. Spending experience on turning into a Shadow King is not a very good idea. But they have no choice. The most important thing is that they can raise the level of the basic characteristics of the Red Comet. He asked the system how much experience he needed to increase by 10 levels. The system replied that at the moment, the level of the Emperor of the Shadow reaches 55th. The guy realized that so far there is not enough. It is worth using it. Thus, the main characteristics of the cellular level are multiplied by 20 intermediate to become face-to-face with ghosts. He asked the system to confirm use. The system translated his experience. The girl thought he was very naive and this was just a tiny fire. She decided to use the enchanted bullet that instantly kills it. She threw this bullet towards the guy and exclaimed that the reward for his head would be her. Shi Hao replied that he certainly met many different girls, but she was the first to break his heart. The Red Comet has completely recovered. The girl was surprised that the level of the dragon increased from the 6th to the 10th. How is it possible? She also moved away several hundred meters from them, but still feels the heat of flame. Is it really not the limit of his strength? How much energy he has in stock, she decided to dump differently. The boy said that despite the fact that he wants to kill her with his own hands, he passes this mission to the dragon. Shi Hao asked him to go and take revenge on her. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. The dragon immediately growled and directed a bright flame towards the girl. A stream of flame was concentrated in the fiery rays. Yes, even at such a speed and a huge scale, she could not understand why even this pet became so strong. Does the guy really intend to kill her? or he wants to be an enemy of organization Huan Zheng. Shi Hao exclaimed that it doesn't matter whether she asks for forgiveness or scolds him again. All responsibility for what happened lies with it. The girl said that Huan Zheng would not forgive him. And here is the first murder in PvP. The pet received a small but remote. A lot of awards were received, the main of which is the optical stealth drone. A record of battle statistics was completed. Automatic quest execution. The fat man was surprised that his level rose by 2. The outcome of the battle has changed in a moment. They decided that their brother is the coolest. The cat was very surprised that he had just seen. Is he still sleeping, or this guy is too strong? He will be much more powerful than Vile. Huan Tian ran to the dragon and hugged him. She exclaimed that she was very afraid that they had lost him. Shi Hao explained that he had previously underestimated the opponents, which allowed him to practically lose their dragon and upset the whole team. However, it will no longer allow a similar situation. He gave a word. At this time, the cat went to Xiao and with tears in his eyes took his hand. He asked if he needed another pet. He wanted to offer him his services. He is not as strong as his dragon, but he can take fatigue with his sweet look and delight his stomach with delicious food. The cat asked, would not want such a pet. Shi Hao was surprised that the little animal changed her face so quickly. He even got drunk. Shouldn't they save its owner now? The little animal replied that it was, but she was her comrade, and as the owner, she only chooses him. The guys decided that this was not a cat, but just an upstart. In the meantime, something happened. The earth and trees trembled as if there was an earthquake. The fat man asked his comrades to look at the top of the tree rather. There was On Jia Lo. It was a sudden quest on the boss. It seems their battle awakened him. They understand the reason, but how the 3 guys of a dragon of different colors has grown. The dragon asked, erupting the flame who dared to disturb his dream. People of the lower creatures dared to appear before them. It is pointless to talk with the first-level bugs. The dragons decided that it would be easier to crush them. The cat hugged Xiao's leg, hiding behind her. He exclaimed that on this location, this creature is the most powerful and angry monster. They need to run rather. Shi Hao asked if it was true to the final boss. Is it really he protects that huge tree? The cat asked how he could be a defender. This forest was always peaceful, but this monster appeared out of nowhere. It not only captured the main nest of the ancient tree, but also managed to pollute the forces of nature. Most of the creatures living there became more cruel under his influence, and the cat also heard from his comrade that this has been going on for many years. Now there is a connection between the monsters and the tree, but what kind of connection the animal no longer remembers. Shi Hao answered Kotu that no matter what was the connection between them, he asked to wait until he dealt with this boss. Then they listened to what his comrade said there. The cat said that it was not for nothing that the guy is the main one here. With such calmness, he said that he would not dare to voice in the rear. Luo Feng asked the commander to wait. He wanted to say something. Shi Hao asked what happened. Luo Feng asked for permission to fight with him, because he wins the slightest effort all the way. But when they are faced with enemies of a higher level, without experience in battles, they will not be able to provide even the slightest help. Therefore, he also wants to participate in the battle. Huan Tian supported the guy. She too does not want to receive free levels without battles, otherwise she will be useless to the team. The fat man exclaimed that these two well done. They do not refuse hard work and labor, even if they get free levels as a rarity. Shi Hao agreed with them. He made the right choice when he took them. However, now is not the time. Initially, he wanted them to increase their level, and only then go to accumulate combat experience, so it will be safer for them. It doesn't matter when to start, save life in the first place. They answered the commander that they would listen to him. Meanwhile, the dragon exclaimed that standing in front of such a huge force as him, they are still daring to discuss something among themselves. He called them the insolents. Xiao Hao commanded the red comet to start fiery breath, that the dragon did. Big dragons could not understand how possible. Their breathing simply evaporated somewhere. Where does the creature of the 10th level have so much power? These people are some extraordinary. Non-all beaks are not frightened enough. Shi Hao asked if they were thinking that it was scaring them. They are far from mistaken. The boy began to use the palm of the fire demon. One of the dragons was completely on fire and asked to let him go. The rest of the dragons noticed that these little people were too strong. They decided to run away soon. Xiao Hao noticed this, asked if they had forgotten about their words. The cat asked the commander to stop, not to kill this monster. Shi Hao asked why he could not be killed. The cat explained that he remembered something. It seems this was mentioned by his comrade. There is a connection of a monster and a tree. If they kill him, they will make a huge mistake. This is something very important. Shihao thought that it could really be something valuable. The fat man exclaimed that the cat must say everything as it is, and then they will miss the boss, or maybe he is with him at the same time. The cat with sarcasm replied that it could. He just asked to trust him, he is with them at the same time. He really does not remember what kind of subject it is. Only his comrade can help them with this. Shihao noticed that there was something in his words. It was a very rare quest at the 40th level. No one expected such a turn of events. The boy explained to his comrades that now they need to help that aboriginal, and in the end, understand what kind of very important little thing this is. So they decided to do. If the thing that the cat speaks is really important, then he has a chance to become his pet. Meanwhile, the guard said that the older sister was delayed, as she still could not cope with them. The man decided that in this cave it was very boring. Also these mosquitoes, why there are so many of them. Looking at the girl lying on a stone, he exclaimed that this rare copy lies nearby and could not move. What a good luck it is. Although the older sister forbade to touch her, but you can probably briefly look at her. He approached the girl. But then I felt someone's presence and asked who was here. In front of him was a 20th level cycling. He stood in front of him looking in his direction. The man exclaimed that he was very scared and asked to get out of here. He called him a brainless animal and asked why he had come here at all. He only spoiled his mood. He tried to remove the mask from the girl's head, but he didn't succeed. He sits too tightly. He did not want to use all the strength. If he ruins it, then they will not be able to sell and will be very sorry. Was this dragon not enough of one crack? He took the bat and went towards the dragon. He exclaimed that this time he would not let him run away. But then a lot of such dragons appeared in front of a man. The man could not understand where so many little dinosaurs came from. He began to wave the weapon and asked them to disappear. He did not want these creatures to approach him, and he began to wave off the dragons, striking them with fire weapons. The man shouted and asked his older sister to save him. After all, he did not want to die that way. Dragons began to approach the girl lying on the stones, making various sounds. Then they lifted her to the heads and began to take her out of the cave. In the meantime, the data in the real period is updated, and the search for the owner began. Really, her partner died, and how possible? As he were killed by monsters like that savage. It seems to be unconscious, but at the same time it moves somewhere at high speed. The fat man could not understand how she could move somewhere. It is obvious that these monsters carry her somewhere. Luo Feng asked the cat what she was thinking about it. The little animal replied that it should not be monsters. However, they are even worse than the monsters. Even worse and worse than the last boss. Shihao was surprised that they were stronger than the boss. Is it possible that this quest of a hidden path? The level of that girl, for example. I would never have thought that a completely ordinary 40-level quest can be with such a rich plot that it is very interesting. Meanwhile, the girl has already opened her eyes, but she could not understand where she was. Drinking from some wooden bed, she exclaimed that it was some kind of abomination. How she was here. Didn't those people who have put her sleep? How they could bring her to such a dangerous place? Most likely they brought her here. Otherwise, how she could be here? The girl decided that she needed to leave as soon as possible. She cannot catch his eye. Then a man appeared and told her that this was already happening for the 10th time. Constantly has to save her, and she always runs away from him. It makes you worry. But as this was previously discussed, she had only 10 opportunities to escape from him. She used all attempts. He forbids to leave somewhere, and now her fate is always with him. It was vials of an unknown level. The girl asked if he was thinking that she would follow his orders and immediately ran away from him. The guy exclaimed that she apparently hurt him badly. She will no longer be able to escape and he will not repeat it anymore. The guy surrounded by his dragons said that she should accept her fate. They are the only representatives of their kind. Doesn't she understand what he is driving at? The girl exclaimed that she hates him. He causes her only disgust. She is not going to give birth to his children. The boy explained that it had passed for 1,000 years, and her primitive thinking has not changed. He has no interest in giving birth to children. He just wants them to go to the same goal together. Together gained incredible power. He will be able to acquire the power of the superior strength of any creature. The geeks from this world are more and more annoying it. Too small, too cramped. It seems to him all the time that breathing becomes more difficult. It is clear that outside the more spacious is a more free, more wonderful world. And he spends his time only on this little grove. However, he had the opportunity. People who have broken into their world perfectly accurately confirmed its millennial guesses. The new world exists, and you can get into it through the interspatial gate. It seems that something blocks his path. Something forbids to move to the other side. Therefore, he needs her strength. Maybe if you kill those foreigners, you will be able to remove the restrictions and move to the outside world. He pressed the girl to the ground. She asked to let her go immediately. Then Shichao appeared. He noticed that there was very exciting reasoning around him. Today he is very lucky. Quest NPC first surprise him with their mind. He wants to move to another world. How interesting it is. Although he is an ordinary creature, who knows? Maybe someday he will be able to take and show him other worlds. But now it's not up to it. The guy was surprised and asked how he could take him with him. Shihao asked if he really wants to know this. He explained that hostile NPC has only one way, and he instructed him weapons. The boy did not quite understand what he meant by NPC. However, it does not matter. They saved the time when they decided to come to him themselves. Yes, and he is more concerned about something else. As a group of foreigners managed to escape from the three-headed dragon. In principle, enough about it. He called the guys small bucks, who were not able to withstand his great power and began to attack the guy. Shihao asked if, after such a speech, he attacks him stealthily. Apparently his power is not perfect enough. He opened his eyes widely, not understanding where such power came from. Contrary to all expectations, he is really capable of something. Only one blow took 20% of his health, and its level is approaching the 100th. Vile explained that he did not want to stir his own hands. This monster of his pet is the level of which is directly synchronized with him, so let him believe that he is fighting with him personally. He must thank him for the opportunity to fight him. The guy was sitting on an emerald nightmare of an unknown level. Shihao exclaimed that his power was surprising. What a level he is, and why such a powerful creature to hide his personality. And that girl is also not shown. Is there really any special mechanism for hiding levels? The dragon screamed on the guy, calling him an ignoramus. Given that more than 1,000 years have passed, its power cannot be calculated in some numbers there. He asked the opportunity to calmly end them. The Sheohao dragon began to attack the Emerald Nightmare. What took 20% of health from this thug? This means that they are on the same level. It's just outrageous. The boy realized that the Red Comet wants him to live on him too. He thought it would look a little ridiculous. Maybe you should wait when his dragon grows up a little. Vile did not expect that he would be able to take away the 1/5 of his health from his pet. He is worthy to be his opponent. Shihao thought that if he was his level, then this situation is simply absurd. As in a 40-level dungeon, NPC 100th level could appear. The boy thought about how to fight like that. You need to come up with something. He asked the fat man to get to him and distract all the attention to himself, but not to forget to turn on the protection. If something goes wrong, then he offered him to drink a potion. It was an elixir completely restoring health. The fat man replied that if he took 20% of health from him from one blow, then he would die. But Shihao asked to trust him. The fat man listened. He exclaimed that it was like some kind of madness, but he would still try. Calling Viles with a naked pervert, he said that the guy interested him, and he decided to destroy him. Vile could not understand how he dared. Surely the guy wants to die. The fat man did not know if he could survive such a strong blow. If his decision is erroneous, then he will never forgive Shichao. His ghost will not leave him alone. 58, 8 level Soize. Lost a little health after the blow. Why is his blow so weak? Even without the protection turned on, only 20% of health was taken away from him. It seems that he is his level. The level of this creature is apparently automatically adjusted to the opponent's level. Otherwise, the health of the fat man after the blow would not exceed 3%. And it seems he himself does not understand what opportunities he possesses. In his power to activate a blow to the region and destroy all opponents around, Shihao handed over to Luofan Tristan's murderers of the Dragon Killer. Luofeng asked if he was thinking that with his success, he could get an artifact from this monster. Shihao asked not to think about it, but simply to help the fat man and distract this huge one. This is an ideal opportunity to gain combat experience. Luofeng was glad that he could finally release steam, and the fat man thought he was joking. This is a monster of at least 60 levels. Although he can resist, Luofeng with his 36th level will simply die. Luofeng asked the fat man not to worry. The commander makes only the right decisions. He is ready to follow his instructions without looking back. Veal laughed and called him another low-level garbage, which came to death. Does he really want to die from his hand? The guy promised to fulfill his desire. When he hit Luofan, the guy was surprised that he had lost only 30% of health. It turns out he is not as strong as it seems at first glance. Luo Feng began to wave his sword, so that Viles felt the power of the graceful and sharpened ball of his boss. The guy could not understand how it was possible so that the discharge of 36th level could inflict so much damage and even from one blow cut off his tail to the dragon. Has he hid his real power? Meanwhile, the girl in the mask was surprised how cool he was. She first saw Viles so upset. The code exclaimed that this is his master and his friends. The girl was very surprised and asked Mao Bao, was his master one of these invasions? The cat asked first to listen to him. All those conflicts that occurred before is simply an accident. They are very good guys. After all, why should they risk their lives and save them? The girl asked the cat why he did this if they had previously attacked them. How so? Mao Bao asked the mistress not to worry, since their commander has a huge heart. Moreover, he is smart enough. Shi Hao asked Kot to stop being touched, and he said that he was not as good as the little animal says. The girl said it does not matter. In any case, she should thank him. Without his help, nothing would have happened. Shi Hao asked her not to thank him, but if she really wants to help, he asked her to tell about that great tree and three-headed dragon. He wants to know what happened to him. Luo Feng exclaimed that the commander's sword was simply incredible. He feels how his body is filled with this great energy. Huan Tian asked the guy not to relax. Maybe they are fighting 2 by 2, but it can only treat him, and not to inflict damage to the enemy. Luo Feng said not to worry. If this is 2 by 2 and they are in a disadvantage, you just need to turn this battle in their favor. He attacked the enemy dragon. Vile growled in bewilderment. How he dared to kill his pet. He called the guy a bastard, and he promised to cut it into pieces. Luo Feng laughed and exclaimed that he had finally entered the battle. Real fun is just beginning. The girl could not think that they would meet with Jia Luo, and even could run away from him. How is it possible? Is it possible for someone to do this? The cat answered the girl, which is of course possible. They not only left intact and unharmed, but also cut off the red dragon head. The girl was shocked and asked why they did it. The cat asked that this is what. Shi Hao explained that their lives were at risk, so it was necessary to kill him. What is so unusual in this? The girl replied that they understood her wrong. On Jilu, this is a very rare precious creature. To kill, which is prohibited without any purpose. Because on Giallo has 3 multi-colored heads, each of which has its own characteristic features. The red head expresses power, the blue fate, and the green mind. Millennia ago, this creature settled on a great tree, and its blood and roots dragged over time into a single hole. If you shed the blood of this monster to the roots of a tree, fruits may appear that will endow the 3 heads of their owner. Despite the fact that they have already cut off the head of a red dragon, there is still the opportunity to use it. If the dragon's blood has not yet dried up, then you need to go more likely and collect it. In no case should this opportunity be missed. When the guys were surprised, she asked what she said wrong. Shi Hao asked for forgiveness and explained that there was no drop of blood from the dragon, because that head was burned with him. He does not think that something could stay there. The girl screamed, what they could do so. Do they really not understand how precious and important these fruits of power are? They know nothing at all. This is wrong. Shi Hao said that there is one very unreliable creature that was supposed to tell them everything. But this did not happen. He thought about how to punish him. The cat immediately asked for forgiveness. The fat man asked his brother to forget about it. What is the difference to him what will happen to this boss? Does he believe that this fruit is worth it? Shi Hao replied that he was useless for him, but a solid amount in the black market could help him out for him. It seems that he lost a couple of million. Luo Feng could not understand what happened. He no longer felt invincible. Where is the whole enthusiasm that was before? On Earth, fighting a completely different matter. Vile did not expect them to attack 2 per 1. Of course, it's easy to speak when some scarecrow heals you from behind. Huan Tian exclaimed that he was a moral freak. Let him not think that he is allowed to say everything that he wants. Vile replied that these children's games will be enough, and his family would come to him. He used the power of the animal wave. What convenes all creatures calling in a radius of 1 kilometer. He could not cope himself, and immediately began to use such methods. Is he able to control so many monsters? Is it dangerous? Vile admitted that they are foreigners quite strong. But this world, if he is not able to defeat them alone, then he will have to take them by quantity. They will not be able to capture this world. Dragons began to burn in bright fire flame. Vile did not expect such a turn of events, how his monsters were so easily defeated. But they should not rejoice so early. The man decided to eat the fruit of the great tree and instantly destroy them. He laughed and rushed that there was urine to a huge tree. Shihao asked him to stop, but the fat man said that you should not spoil such a comedy. You can, when he finds out that there is no fruit, hear his desperate cry. Shihao exclaimed that they should hurry. He does not want to leave the other two fruits just like that. He is afraid that something can happen. Luo Feng said that the number of monsters is only growing. You need to somehow get out of here. Shihao asked them not to worry. These monsters are not so terrible as to run away from them, but you have to burn the area surrounding them. He asked if it was worth doing. The girl in the mask replied that of course it was. This is her most hated place. She hopes he will fry everyone well here. The boy decided in this case without courtesy, and he drove the dragons into a changed fiery trap. The Red Comet discovered a new ability. Shihao received many awards. He found a very useful book. Vile dropped it. This is a book for turning a pet into transport. Luo Feng worked hard. The boy remembered that the Red Comet used to want him to be able to saddle him. Now his desire to embody in reality. The dragon was very happy. Shihao began to use the dragon taming. The dragon became very frightening. Huan Tian exclaimed that she simply had no words. When Xiao Hao can already share. The fat man explained that he had constantly heard about the transport spell before, but he could never imagine that it could fall from the villain. Shihao asked to hurry and rather climb on him. He does not want to make any mistake again, and so they together saddled the Red Comet and went to the goal, to the great huge tree. And now the guys have already arrived at the great tree. Dragons said that they were scared. Where did such evil people come from in their world? Who would have thought that the redhead would be burned to the ground, and there was not even a wet place? That guy is too dangerous. They are not even. He will find them in their refuge. The second dragon replied that only they should know about this place. Then Vel appeared. He knew that dragons were hiding in this cave. They recognized this voice. The guy said that more than 1,000 years had passed, and they are still the same garbage. They could not even cope with a bunch of foreigners. Dragons realized that it was Vile. Yes, and with a crowd of monsters. Why did they come? Vile explained that he defended them for 1,000 years. Now it's time to pay in bills. He asked to seem a red dragon. He went to take his strength as a reward for his work, and I wanted the dragon to give his blood more likely. The yellow dragon replied that he was a little late. The same foreigners came to him, burned his head to the thus, also in every drop of blood. Vile could understand how possible. He had been waiting for 1,000 years to tell him that the heads of the red dragon no longer exist. His strength is what he lived in this world for. This cannot be, and he simply cannot believe it. The dragons asked how he thinks whether they could ever imagine that they would be smeared with such ease. Their enemy was so strong that they could only come to terms with the defeat. And he is a man who vowed to protect them in the end, simply used to achieve his own ideas. Veal called them bastards. How they dare to mock him at all. He promised to cut them into pieces. The dragons replied that he was an unscrupulous brag. Perhaps 1,000 years ago they could not compete with him, but asked not to compare the past with the present. Although they could not cope with the foreigners, they will definitely be able to defeat him. Vile did not expect them to run away. What was this empty chatter for? But turning around, he saw a huge, powerful dragon with riders on him in front of him. He asked where they got such a pet. Shihao noticed that he was running quickly and he almost lost it. Then he thanked for the gift set earlier. Now they look at him from top to bottom. Vile was simply depressed and called them by bastards. How Shihao dares to mock him. The Emerald Nightmare has been his pet for thousands of years. They were with him alone. The guy promised to take revenge on him. He will never forgive him for his death. Shihao would never have thought that a three-dimensional creature has feelings. But it does not matter that he feels the murdered NPC. He will not be able to escape from retaliation. Veal exclaimed that there is no justice in this world. Only gross power is at the top. He tried all the blessings of this world, but he could not get unlimited power. And he destroyed his last opportunity to take possession of her, destroying the dragon whom he cultivated for 1,000 years. Somewhere he agreed with him. But do not blame him for the imperfection of his plan. Vile did not deny that now he could not resist him, but still in his power to force them to pay for the deed. Shihao asked to stay here, and Luo Feng called to go with him. He immediately agreed and followed the guy. Shihao thought that he apparently wanted to take possession of the rest of the three-headed dragon. They have already lost one of the fruits. You cannot repeat the same mistake. Luo Feng exclaimed that he did not succeed. He already used all his energy to open the barrier, but his strength is already running out. What a freak he is. Shihao realized that something was wrong. You can't use your strength thoughtlessly, but otherwise Vel can reach 100th level, and the attack in the region at such a level promises faithful death to everyone. Veal knew that they wanted to leave these two fruits to himself, but even dead he would not allow them to do this. That he cannot get, they will not receive either. Huan Tian said that the matter was bad. He has already absorbed the forces of the great tree, and now he is preparing to increase to colossal sizes. Shi Hao could not understand why he had this. Is the whole thing not in the dragon, but in the greatest tree? The mountain began to collapse. Shi Hao asked the red comet to get them out of here rather, and so that he does not worry, since they will be in order. But what the dragon began to create. Shi Hao and Luo Feng remained inside, cannot leave them there. But Huan Tian asked not to worry, because such difficulties will not stop Shao. They will definitely not be lost. The entrance was really overwhelmed with stones. How will the commander get out of there? They could not understand what the dragon's mouth was in the mouth. Luo Feng exclaimed that he had a cool commander. What amazing way they chose to break through the blockage. True, the smell was dizzy from the smell. One expresses wisdom, and the other expresses fate. Surely they know about it. But not everything is so bad. They really made the most correct choice. Shi Hao told the dragons that since they showed their real nature, he would no longer kill them. Moreover, he will help them protect the great tree. The dragon thanked the guy and called him his master. They had to do this right away. Dragons promised to always remember his kindness. Shi Hao asked them not to rush, but first to deal with Vil. The girl in the mask was surprised that the dragon had just called Xiao Hao commander. She could not believe it. The cat replied that the owner again proved what an unsurpassed leader he is. He simply cannot but admire him. Shi Hao asked Vile why he became so huge. His fateful power has reached incredible sizes. The guy replied that he had almost reached endless health. Now he certainly could not overcome him. Shi Hao said that in this case he should try to use all his power. Vile asked them to try to kill him. He will not even resist. He wanted to see what would come of it, and he asked the dragon why he decided to bow his head in front of the foreigners. Is there really nothing left of his pride? The dragon asked if pride is really more important than life. In this world, survival is in the first place. One of the laws of nature states that the weak must obey the stronger. He is not so stupid as to beat a large rock with a small stone. Will asked how he still dares to make fun of his acquired power. Today he is ready to give them a deadly battle. They obviously will not like the result. The guy asked them to defend themselves, otherwise they would disappear with this forest. They do not even know that he wants to destroy the great tree. Then someone suddenly found himself behind him and pulled his hair. The guy shouted sharply. He could not understand where this huge hand came from. The dragon did not say that he owns such skills. Someone's voice asked him not to complain, because they are not competing now, and they just do everything possible to kill each other. Vile, after a powerful blow, asked how he did it. Shi Hao was also extremely surprised. His blow took him only 5% of health. He did not think that the guy would be so tenacious. Vile replied that he had a trump card in his sleeve and he showed him only now. Shi Hao said that there is one expression that says that it does not matter how you hit, whether it be jab, hook, or uppercut. If you get into the center, then it will always be a good blow. The guy called Xiao Hao with insignificance. Really, for this he used his leg. Shi Hao, in turn, applied an unusual technique and his enemy flew into the flame of fire. The cat was delighted that Veal had deserved today. The man dying could not understand why everything happened like that. After all, he is the lord of this world. Shi Hao explained that this is because in the real world not everything is as simple as he thinks. It is necessary to collect innate force along with the skills in battles. Only in this way he can really make a powerful attack. Even if he takes all the power of the great tree, it still cannot resist his relics. The fat man asked if there was anything in this world that he could not cope with. Even this giant was too light for him. The rest of the guys completely supported the guy. Luo Feng considered that it was not for nothing that this is their leader. He is simply unimaginably strong. A masked woman could not understand where such a powerful warrior could come from. The cat said that his owner cannot be equated with ordinary people. The woman in a mask wanted him to become her master. Vile could not understand how it happened. He was so close to free himself from the shackles. So why do they allow him to invade his world? Shi Hao replied that fate is always unfair. He thought she was on his side. Well, everything was already a foregone conclusion in advance. Although he has the strength, as well as good skills, he was born in the world where he is lower than a 40 level. Therefore, he must now accept his fate. But the guy exclaimed that he was against it, and he could not die. The system congratulated the guy on the murder of the dungeon boss. A new achievement has opened a man with whom it is better not to deal. She who knew that his fate was doomed. But what about them? They accidentally found themselves in the game. There really is some kind of being that controls them. From one thought about it becomes terribly. The fat man noticed huge rays in front of him. They are so bright that he even turned away for a moment. The guys asked whether she had ever seen such Shao. The boy asked them not to give in greed. They are the only people in this world, so that you should not rush. Their primary task is to get the 2 remaining fruits while they have such an opportunity. Shi Hao asked the dragons if they knew what to do. The dragon asked the commander and the rest to come closer to them. They approached the altar of fate. Luo Feng exclaimed that it looks pretty impressive. They asked the girl in a mask if she built this place. Chi-Chi replied that she was not her. This place existed long before her birth. For 1,000 years, nothing has changed. She also does not know who created it. The cat said that perhaps Veal knew, but unfortunately, they will no longer be able to ask him. Shi Hao said that it does not matter, and he asked the dragon to continue. He immediately obeyed his commander. The dragon explained that in fact, it is not as easy as it seems at first glance. Thanks to the commander, they easily defeated all the monsters who guarded the road to this place, not to mention the receipt of their blood. The power of the commander allowed them to get to here so easily. The guys noticed that fruits appeared on the branches of the tree. They are absolutely the same as they described them. Shi Hao thought that it was not in vain that they had tried. Even he can feel the power stored in these fruits. They are also a rare quality, for how much he will be able to sell them. Shi Hao asked to allow to see what amazing fruits they talked about. But what is wrong? He pulls with all his strength, and the fetus still does not break away. It is somehow strange. The level of this fruit may be higher than it, but this is impossible. Luo Feng suggested cutting it off with a sword. Shi Hao replied that if you just can't tear it off, then there is a certain way here. Luo Feng said that it is probably the case, and the heavy power will not help here. Chi-Chi explained that initially 3 fruits were intended for her and Vile, and only they can remove them. Foreigners will be able to get them only if these stone pillars are broken, on which the fruits hang. But then they will deteriorate. Shi Hao asked the girl to help him tear off the fruits. Let him not know how she looks without a mask. But there is a good relationship between them. She will not refuse him. The girl asked to promise him something if he helped her to disrupt the fruit. But first he must promise, and then she will tell him what exactly. The boy replied that he would fulfill if he can do it. He thought that this girl has a pure soul and kind character. She is not able to demand something supernatural. The girl asked him to promise, and in no case do not deceive her. Shi Hao asked her to calm down. He usually keeps his promises. The main thing is that this task is fulfilled. She seriously caused a reaction at the root of the great tree. It is not surprising that only a local resident is able to activate contact with a tree. Shi Hao thought that everything could not be so simple. He has the feeling that its energy spreads around everything around. Even a drop of vital energy has reached his body. The cat explained that Chi-Chi lived 1,000 years. She is the same as Vile. Both have their own character. The boy thought that maybe even she does not know what she was doing. Thus, it increases its strength. But everything cannot be so simple. It is better to return and ask her. They notice that the flowers are beginning to flourish. What kind of ritual can it be? Will this girl finally throw off the mask from her face? They did not even know what to say. When you look at her face, it feels like warmth is blurring throughout the body. Huan Tian exclaimed that it was just beauty. Her femininity simply disappeared somewhere. Luo Feng noticed that she was just a beauty. The fat man said that this feeling is when you fall in love at first sight. Shi Hao did not argue. She is really beautiful. But do not exaggerate. Maybe its force affects them, affects their mind. Shi Hao could not understand what was happening. The whole monastery suddenly began to crumble. Is the ritual failed? Chi-Chi asked them not to worry. This is the last step of the ritual. This is due to the fact that the great tree gives fruits only once in a lifetime, and after everything is destroyed. She asked Xiao Hao to take the fruits rather. The system congratulated the guy on the acquisition of new objects of the fruit of knowledge and the fruit of life. Shi Hao was surprised that even such a potion exists in the world. A previously sold potion causing rage cannot be compared with even one of these. Shi Hao asked Weiss to check whether these bottles could be used to create moss. Weiss explained that with the help of this potion, of course, it is possible. However, 2 more artifacts remain. First, this is necessary to unlock the title of Master of Alchemy. If he has this title, then he will be able to create any potion. And the second, it is necessary to get the recipe for the drawing and all the necessary materials. Shi Hao thought that the Master of Alchemy includes teaching potions, and even divine. What about the recipe? So slowly they will come to him, are in no hurry. Chi-Chi said that she had fulfilled his requirements, and now he must keep his promise. The boy asked her to say what she wants, and he would keep her promise. The girl replied that she wants a child from him. The guys were very surprised at the girl's request. They all opened their mouths in surprise. Shihao moved away from her, thinking that she was probably joking. Usually this is not made, but the girl replied that she was seriously. After all, he is so strong and brave. Their child will certainly be even stronger and braver. Shihao laughed and said that this could not be the reason. She is more than 1,000, and he is only 18. He is still a child and a huge difference between them. The girl exclaimed that she did not want to hear excuses. Didn't he promise her, or all this would be already? She trusted him. Chi-Chi began to cry, calling him a deceiver and a liar. But the boy asked her not to cry. He immediately began to calm the girl. The fat man noticed that this is the manipulation of girls. Huan Tian exclaimed that he had broken the heart of a poor girl. What a gentleman he was after. Luo Feng said that the commander has a +1 to the harem. The boy asked the jokers to stop. He went to the girl and began to calm her. He explained that they have not been accepted from people from their first acquaintance to make children. Love must be present. Then the girl asked what it was love. Shihao replied that it was very difficult to explain. He can't explain such a feeling, but he can take her with him. We must wait until she will meet a person in that world who can show her what love is. But then she thoroughly herself returned to him with a new desire. Chi-Chi agreed with him and said that until that moment she should be everywhere with him, and without her nowhere. The boy replied that no problem, just do not constantly remind him of the child. He explained that the time almost came. We must soon end their adventures. But they asked for permission to be attached to this beautiful look. Shihao asked what VL left them. It seemed to them that the closer they came, the more this glow became. They have never seen anything like it. What the level of Vial was still. The vessel exclaimed that it was good to prepare in advance. He saw those who were lucky enough to blind from such a bright explosion. When they go outside, I asked the guys not to forget to take glasses from the sun. Shihao asked where he always got such strange ideas in his head. He was surprised that they were able at a time at once 2 materials for making a potion. How nice it is. It is necessary to create it. What is beyond the divine potion symbiosis of measurements? The fat man was very surprised to see the material of divine quality. I would never have thought that such things really exist. Shihao said that a special hidden drop was written here. But why such a little thing could fall out of the 40-level quest? It looked very strange for him. The system congratulated the guy on the passage of the quest, and endowed it with many different awards. Hidden power, leadership in the structure of friendly relations, and the key to entering the quest. Huan Tian was delighted to increase the level. Luo Feng also squeezed his fists rejoicing at this. They could not rise more than 20 levels, and this is very cool. Is it really after the battle against Vial? Luo Feng asked the commander, since Vial was a special character, whether he should be very strong. Why did he manage to withstand the battle one-on-one? What is the case? Shihao replied that this was because the distinctive feature of this character to copy the level of the enemy. That is why, during the battle, the damage was the same, all because of this special skill. Shihao explained that Vial was an aborigine. Can they use this book of skills? It seems VL was one with his dragon. Chi-Chi said that it was not entirely true. Dragons and pet Vileo are ordinary inhabitants of the forest. Once he tamed them with his strength, so that he gave them freedom. Shihao said that he was an ordinary native, and he did not have the logical tactics of the battle. They have to defeat 9 more. Apparently they will not appear a relatively high level, since he was able to appear on a 40-level quest. Their reward is new knowledge. The fat man exclaimed that they most likely could not make a potion of such a high level. It is better to sell this material. Shihao was sure that this thing was definitely not cheap. The boy asked the cat that she was regarding the quartz cave, whether their contract remained in force. The cat replied that of course it remained and was ready to conduct them. Shihao turned to his dragon and advised him to stay here better. He gave him a team to continue to follow the great tree and protect the forest. The dragon visited and said that he would follow his instruction. The guys noticed that there are a lot of bright quartz around them. How sparkled everything around. The code said that of course it is fine. He would never have been able to lie to his owner. The fat man asked the kitten why they came here at all. Luo Feng was very surprised and thought that this was their reward. Huan Tian was also delighted that all this could go to him. The fat man was simply shocked that they could remain in chocolate. How much does it all cost? The cat explained that this cave is deep underground. On the surface, this type of stone is rare. It seems to be an ancient magic quartz. In fact, it was formed a very long time after the death of the ancient monsters. Perhaps a bunch of ancient creatures used to live here. Shi Hao noted that despite the fact that quartz is only a 40 level, his bunch are a bunch. They were lucky enough to stumble upon a quartz mine, or you can say on a home mine. The guys asked what they were waiting for. They were ready to collect before the loss of the pulse. Shi Hao asked his comrades to wait. Do not collect them ourselves. He came up with something. He has a key, and they can return and bring bots that will help them collect these stones while they will rest. He will leave himself a fifth of the cave. The fat man will take the third part, as a more experienced fighter, and they will share one part among themselves. The boy asked if they agreed. The fat man immediately exclaimed that of course they agree. They could not even dream that they would get something too, and immediately thanked the commander. Shi Hao told his cat that he needed to stay here. But the cat exclaimed that he wants to go with them to see the world. He began to puffly puke, and asked him to take him with him. Shi Hao replied that, firstly, he needed him to stay here and help him to find out about the field of the magic quartz. He counts on the help of the great tree. Secondly, he forgot that he should be punished for the fruit of the force destroyed by him. Shi Hao explained to Kotick that when they do this, he will show him the whole world, and he will receive a small reward. The cat exclaimed that he could rely on him. He will help him with magic stones. However, he will also have a small request for him. As he knows Chi-Chi, he does not quite see himself. He asks to help him make sure that she does not fit into all kinds of troubles. The cat asked the girl during his absence to obey the commander and try not to lose things on the way. Shi Hao answered Kotu that he could definitely take care of her. They are not going to part. The boy asked the robot to see if there are any changes in the fortress. Weiss explained that at the moment, the level of the fortress is 3 stars. With the departure of the commander, the level increased by half the star. Shi Hao decided that they would need to carefully look for the dungeons, and so they finally came out. It was just a great adventure. All due to the fact that their commander is so sensitive. Before leaving, they managed to increase their level. Luo Feng agreed with the girl and said that they had reached the 4th level. The 45th level is already more serious. The fat man exclaimed that the next time they went with confidence. Shi Hao asked them to wait for what could move right on them. Is it really some kind of car? It looks like they came for them. The guys noticed that it looks dangerous. Some armed guys were released from cars. Hunter 85th level noticed that they arrived very much in time. Still a little and their goal would be washed off. But he did not understand how, because of such low-level discharge as them, the Huanzhan clan could offer a reward. And he called the fat man dead. Its level here is the highest. The man asked what he could not please the clan Huanzheng. I could not understand how possible. He asked the commander how they wanted to recruit him in their clan. Shi Hao asked him to be silent and play to him. The past lady and her team were also from this clan. Did they really send someone else? This shows their real person. He told Hunter that they should pay attention to each other. The fat man immediately squeezed his fists and exclaimed that he was the one he needed. Didn't they really understand who was the main one here? They arrived only in 2 cars, or someone else was traveling behind them. Hunter replied that this fat man is a madman, but he was smart. No wonder they give such a good reward for him. And he really guessed that a couple of groups were going here, but he promised to deal with them before their arrival. The old man will not dare to miss such a reward. One of these people told his commander that these girls are too beautiful and sorry to kill them. It is better to leave them here so that they do not feel guilt. The commander pushed his warrior and exclaimed that he should not teach him what to do. He should recall that the old man is not blind. They will do as he says. In front of them appeared another mercenary of the detachment of Radiance. He asked not to waste time in vain, but let him kill them as soon as possible. The mercenaries of the detachment immediately ran with weapons in their hands towards the guys. Shi Hao asked the fat man to take on the main thing. Luo Feng takes the rest. How they think, how much time. Luo Feng began to calm the commander and asked to completely rely on them. He is already 45th levels. For him they will be welding. The mercenary of the detachment exclaimed that the guy who rose into the air wanted to escape. His level is too low. How beautifully he dumped, apparently from a rich family. The second mercenary asked for permission to catch up with him. He will not be able to fly far. The commander asked not to be distracted by this low-level discharge. It is better to let him deal with this fat man, because so far no one has been able to overcome him. The rest of the detachment completely agreed with him. The guys were ready in anticipation of the attacks of opponents. Shi Hao made it possible to meet a fat man who is ready to survive 4 against 10. Clan Huanzhan put up a reward for his head to the public. Apparently this, after Misha could not recruit him into her clan. Shi Hao noticed that reinforcements were going to them. Yes, and they are very close. Really due to the fact that he killed Mi Shu, they increased the award for his head. However, the clan Huanzheng exaggerates too much. He just killed one of their warrior, and because of this they inflated such a tragedy. But something is wrong here. He dealt with her in the quest, how they learned about it in another world. He probably missed something, but now is not the time to think about it. Even if the 100th level, they will resist dozens of opponents. He needs to come up with something in order to finish this massacre soon. The old man exclaimed that he was above several dozen levels. He really will not be able to break through his defense. The boy laughed and replied that this was his peculiarity. Thick skin, which is not so easy to break through. Shi Hao asked his comrades as they were doing, whether they are still holding on. Huan Tian answered the commander that everything was fine. She herself does not understand why, but she has such feelings that they have become much stronger. The fear of confronting so many rivals has simply disappeared somewhere. Even in the minority, they can still repulse them. The main thing is not to bring your level of health to death. Everything is the way he expected. They are sure because Chi-Chi is with them. She, like Vile, has great power. It has a multifaceted increase in force. But he still cannot figure out this passive or active ability. The guy who appeared suddenly noticed that Hunter was really running quickly. The old man got faster than the explosive snake detachment. The captain of this detachment was called Idol. He said that Hunter was lucky today to be closer to the goal than them. The captain of the Roker detachment. Jesus replied that they are not particularly similar to rockers. So many discharges gathered in one place that it was like a party of a party. The fat man noticed that these two detachments of mercenaries are more known for others. It seems they decided to conclude an alliance among themselves. This time, they will have to fight against everyone at the same time. Hunter asked them to bother his nose in other people's affairs. They are just going to attack his prey. Idol asked if he wanted to take everything to himself. They arrived from afar, so they are not going to simply spend their time. Does he really want to violate their agreement? You have to repay for this. He needs to think carefully. Hunter told them that if they are so cool, then whether any of them knows how to break through the defense of this fat man. Idol laughed back and called him stupid. Whether he looked more closely at whom they hunt, their goal of Shichao, and that Tolstoy's name is Shushaozi. They met with him before. The fat man told the old man that he was like him. He would remember for his whole life. Jesus asked whether he was looking for. Really, all this time they lost in vain. Hunter got up to call Sheo. He has a question for him. Shi Hao replied that he was here. And why scream so loudly? What is his business with him? He does not know how much the reward was put up for him by the Huanzheng clan. But apparently it is worth it. Idol called the boy a daredevil. Before his death, he dares to ask about such things. 50,000 million want it. He is probably surprised that such a boy is given such a large amount. Shi Hao replied that he thought at least 100 million for him. Apparently the clan still underestimates him. Hunter was surprised that one guy of the 10th level dares to get in front of them. Idol said that they would get 30% and each in a girl, as they have such a layout. They decided how to divide the prey among themselves. Shi Hao apologized for interrupting their discussion. If they decided how to divide the reward for his head, he also has one question for them. Since they are all very well-known hired groups, it was probably not easy for them to work together. The boy exclaimed that if he does not rob them, then it would be a waste of time. Idol laughed at what he had just said. This guy is going to rob them. He is afraid that he will die of laughter now. Hunter asked him to rob them. Shi Hao calmly pulled some crystal out of his pocket. It was a challenge of a demon. The guy explained that he was just using it. The challenge of the demon was used. The system asked to evacuate the allies so as not to bear excessive losses. The opponents were surprised why the sky suddenly darkened, that it suddenly appeared from heaven. The opponents were surprised that this was still for the monster there. The guys thought it was some ancient deity. Clan members immediately began to worship him. Hunter said that he saw the true appearance of God. Now you can die without regrets. Idol asked God to take them with him to his holy and immaculate city. The fat man exclaimed that he had met such a magic before, but Shao used this stone to call the demon. This is a little strange. It seems now the souls of these people are vicious. Shi Hao replied that he was using it for the first time. This is no doubt the ancient god, but coming closer to a completely different feeling. Even the calling to him managed to lose San, although this is just an illusion. Chi-Chi was very scary, and she pressed herself against the boy, asking him to hug her. Shi Hao replied that while she had nothing to fear here, He asked not to call him the master, she is not his pet. Meanwhile, guys from other detachments worship this deity. Huan Tian was also very scary, and she asked to hug them as soon as possible. Is these ghostly rays of someone's souls? The system explained that it calls for magic crystals to get a multifaceted increase in strength and special skills. It was an absorption of souls. Shihao was very surprised at a multifaceted increase in force. Apparently it comes from Chi-Chi. But how to develop a mechanism for increasing force? He wanted to understand this. The monster wanted to swallow all the time. The boy realized that it could swallow all the souls, and finally, it all ended. Still a little bit and it would swallow his soul too. He now has goosebumps all over his body. It feels like you are about to die. Who can help in this? The fat man asked for forgiveness, and exclaimed that he too could not think that this call would be so strong. He offered to drink the medicine to recover. Shihao said that these people from the clans have a terrible fate. They were so impudent at the beginning, and now their souls are absorbed in the demon. Apparently, do not call this demon in the presence of Chi-Chi. Shihao received a lot of various awards, including a combat guitar. He decided that this was all completely useless trash. Luofeng noticed that they again increased at 3 levels. The fat man also did not expect that for one trip in the desert they would be able to raise so many levels. Shihao asked Chi-Chi what happened. The girl replied that her level was always a question mark. For thousands of years she killed many different monsters, but nothing has changed. Shihao replied that in their world, a question mark means that it is incredibly strong and mysterious. He asked her not to be upset about trifles. The girl immediately hugged him, agreeing with him. The fat man asked him where he got that crystal to call the demon. It may be better to return it. The boy explained that this crystal came from the time of organizing the cult of the monastery of the ancient world. The fat man said that he heard about it. The truth in the desert is a bunch of different cults, but this developed in a special way, and it is not clear why, but they have a lot of adherents. Shihao hopes that they will not recruit them, otherwise they can once again use the draft of the demon, and let them try their tools on themselves. From here they are close to home. He promised the family to have dinner together. The fat man did not doubt it. What could be better than dinner in the company of relatives after the next battle? Shihao said that he was never favored to the person who is trying to harm him. At their time, to regret the enemy is equal to death. The fat man agreed with the commander. Only now their transport during the battle fell under the distribution, and now he cannot start it. Laughing, he apologized. He suggested trying to go by traffic mercenaries, if only Shihao agrees. The boy asked them not to worry so much and promised to fix everything. Only they need to move as far as possible. He asked his robot to start. Weiss was delighted. After all, the owner told him to deal with these problems. The fat man asked the commander what was happening to the cars. What did they conceive? He asked the fat man to relax, and he asked for permission to surprise him. They really were all surprised. Of all this, such a beauty came up. In front of them was the circus of the wasteland. Javi is a metal SUV, full of wild temperament, equipped with crazy firepower and a super powerful power plant. The fat man began to kiss this car. Shihao explained that this was for them to make the whole team fit. He asked them all aboard and fastened the seatbelts. The fat man sent to drive. He advised him to be careful, since safety is in the first place. The road is not the best. Before he had time to finish, but he had already given a slipper. The fat man asked not to pay attention to the little things. It's just that you need to trust the driver to explore the sunset, and there they will have time home for dinner. Shihao thought that there is a very calm atmosphere around, but how long it would last. Although they were able to repulse the Hanmo clan, this does not mean that they are in complete safety. Both clans are extremely dangerous for them. He will need to continue to develop his strength. He has been faced with the Huanzhen detachment for the 3rd time. The boy asked Weisse whether to use the Masters of Engineering, whether it was possible to hack this device. The robot replied that of course they would be able to hack him. Shihao asked them to help him get into the network of mercenaries of the clan Huanzheng. He cannot endure when he is so frivolous. How many times they attacked them, now their turn has come. First, he needs to carefully examine the network of the mercenaries of the clan Huanzheng. He could not understand who these are in the end. Shihao discovered interference plus confused access code. Has Hunter had no money for a normal device? It looks like he bought him with his hands. It is not surprising that in such a place he cannot confirm his personality, so even better. The boy began to use the special skills of the Master of Engineering, namely, the repair of the hosting. The mercenary was greeted in the central online case of the clan Huanzheng. Shi Hao noticed 4 doors with different directions in front of him. Since he is now in the guise of hunter, apparently he needs to go to the room with mercenaries. The boy saw him a rating of credit risk. High risk is very similar to him. So, what is this place? A bar for mercenaries? It looks like they can accept orders here. The atmosphere is so-so here. Weiss explained to the owner that the scan was completed and this place has a very good protection. He still cannot hack their hosting. He thinks that he should try the skills of a master of engineering to hack him. He noticed a sign with rewards in front of him. Is it really in the list of orders in second place? In the first place, Suji. He met her in the college treasury last time. She is also at war with Huan Zheng. Why is 100 million for it? When he fought with her, he did not feel some kind of power in her. Probably she hides some special power. Weiss agreed with the owner. Most likely, she simply decided not to show her real power. Why reveal all the cards to the one who is equal to you? The guy realized that this explains all. CG said last time that they would still see. He remembered her words. In this girl, there were more secrets than in him. Then some girl appeared and asked Hunter how he dared to throw her mother. After the agreement is coordinated, he decided to fade from it. He forced his mother to wait all day, and after that he dares to appear here. The girl's name was with Li Sha. She explained that if they met in the wasteland, she would immediately tear his skin from him. When the girl called him Hunter, he realized that he was now using his motto, and he seems to be a hunter for them. He asked what deal she talks about. Recently, he has been very busy and does not remember anything. The girl asked how he could forget about it. What kind of chicken memory he has. Last week, he said that he needed elixir scrolls. She spent a lot of time in search. Is it in the course of how hard it is to get them? And he says he forgot about it. Maybe he needs to straighten his brains, then he will remember. Shihao replied that he went for a check from the bank because he had online savings. He asked to wrap all the recipes with him. The girl asked if he was lying. She did not expect him to ever grow up. However, all the recipes are of high level if he is sure that he will have enough money. The plan for wiping the little girl worked. Sooner or later, she will reach her real strength. A whole million. The girl is probably joking. Where did Hunter have 1 million in his pocket? One of the men said that everyone knows that Hunter owed a half-year salary to his younger brother. Li Shaw exclaimed that she knew what his situation he had, so she decided to complete the deal when he would be comfortable. She changed the location. The address is written on a piece of paper, Xiao Hao told the sister before the ambulance. On the map, a built-up area was written 24th number. The boy decided when the time would go look on the map, only he never thought that Hunter was a master of medium-level potions. Is this profession in demand? Weiss exclaimed, turning to the owner that he found similar information. It turns out that the profession is the master in the manufacture of potions is located on the 3rd together in demand. Apparently, he should definitely master the title of Master of Alchemy, the boy decided. There are not so many information that he needs in the mercenary case. It seems to be necessary to look for information elsewhere. You need to try to enter a room with a high level of safety. The system said that Hunter's mercenary has an insufficient level to enter the room. He asked the robot whether it was possible to hack this door. Weiss explained that this is theoretically possible, but due to the hacking it is likely that the user's device will be damaged, so the next time it will not be possible to enter. Shihao decided that this time was enough. The next time you have to look for someone a higher position in order to get inside. He tried to enter the system hosting. A dragon immediately rushed on his chest. The boy noticed that this time his pet missed him even more, although he really should apologize. It is also impossible to walk with him in the city. Because he is too noticeable, there is something to be offended. He asked if he would go to the system with him, and he asked the system to unlock the Mosa account Master of Alchemy. To unlock this account, he needs to spend 300,000 coins. The robot was surprised that the owner still decided to open this second account. The system asked if he confirms this action. Shihao decided that they would be able to earn more money and experience with the help of alchemy. The boy confirmed the unlock, and so he unlocked the account of the Master of Alchemy. The system wanted to explain what is the abilities of this account, but Weiss wanted to tell about it himself. Since the ability of Moss is the creation of potions, the owner can prepare potions using recorded recipes, or create new ones. They will be the only ones in the world. Of course, this ability carries great risks, since potions can be at the same level with potions of the highest quality. Shihao said that at the moment he was going to do everything according to the recipe. His main goal is money. Tomorrow he needs to find Siyu so that she would transport him to the black market. But first you need to make a couple of potions. Meanwhile, the girls slept very sweetly. being next to each other. Xiaohao looked into the gap and wished them good night. People returned to everyday life faster than expected. Apparently, for so many years, everyone has already got used to it. They agreed with the sister of the Sui to meet right here. She should hold it to the black market. Superstar Sev Lee will come with a concert to their city. You cannot miss the opportunity to capture song stations from a popular star. The boy realized that this is the very famous singer. As a star of such popularity decided to come to such a calm place. Shihao remembered how Yunfei constantly spoke about some kind of Shu Li. She hung a poster in the room. She often loved to sing on the bed, dancing, although she focused. Then his old acquaintance suddenly appeared. She asked if their Shi-chaos really liked the pop stars. The boy explained that he liked his sister, so he remembered something. It's time for them to go to Siu, and today he will need her help. She replied that this group of the Kingdom of Angel monopolizes entertainment and sport. She earns a lot of money, creating superstar. But even for them it was strange to invite a star of this level to their immodest city. There is such an expression as a thing that does not need money is the most expensive thing. They do not understand ordinary people to the logic of businessmen, so that you should not bother with this. Shihao would never have thought of the entrance to the black market will be located in the coffee shop, but why they could not go through the main door. The girl explained that not every time you can go through her. You never know what secrets the local boss hides. Xiaohao thanked Sui Li. She thought perfectly. The girl said that he defeated the bosses who caused inconvenience and made great impressions of her. He became so strong, it is possible that in the future it will no longer be useful to him. To which the boy replied that they were very good friends. The girl said that she felt calmer, and it was time for them to go. It is not surprising, here is a very high level of security. Even costumes from the black market are much more high. This is nothing. Does she know where the first district of the black market is located? The girl explained. Then, he is located right in a 7-star hotel. Even in order to enter there, she will need to register in advance. Ordinary people will never understand those who are used to living a wealthy life. He does not even know if there is access to the card that he has. As soon as he makes enough money, it will be necessary to go to such a luxurious place with his guild. Suddenly they opened the door in front of them and said that the owner was ready to accept them. 2 guys asked the comrades to come in. The girl said that earlier he said to get ingredients and drawings for alchemy and engineering. She spent the last night to get them. Shihao thanked her. After all, it was a really difficult task. The girl said that she was very tired and sleep a little, and the boy asked for now to get acquainted with everything. Shihao agreed and said that she could have a rest, and later he will wake her. All the missing ingredients for use in engineering and alchemy cost it dearly. They were more expensive than described in the ingredients, but there is logic in this. The higher the level of the profession, the more expensive the ingredients. But he is also a crazy nose, the greatest alchemist of their time. There is no word for him. He can take advantage of the price difference between drawings and finished products. He does not fundamentally earn a lot of money on this. How much money he spent in order to run it? Start first with a small one. He decided to try to earn 100 million. The scroll was successfully bought and the ingredients too. The demand for potions is very large, and it also has a full of ingredients for them. He decided to try to make money on potions, and the potion was successfully made. The system announced the guy. Meanwhile, the girl had already woken up, noting that she slept for a very long time. She asked Shihao as he was doing. The boy replied that it was not bad, and he had already earned more than 200 million. She was very surprised and decided that he was joking. Are all these sales really belong to him? So many trading records and all are made only for sales of potions of a few more super-legged potions. Is it possible to get such a profit? Shihao replied that it was very sorry that the ingredients had ended in this area, and he could have earned more. The girl realized that he was for this to ask her to get the ingredients, to earn on this. She asked him to devote time to her to explain how he suddenly became a master of alchemy, how many secrets he hides from his girlfriend. He apologized to Li. But he is not yet ready to share with the person to whom he feels sympathy with such secrets. Everything that he hides can harm even him. She really liked that she was sympathetic to him. He sold so much potion in one evening. Such actions can attract the attention of dangerous people. Shihao said he should not be afraid of the consequences, and they announced that the daily auction would begin soon. Those who want to participate can go to the hall. Every day, items are put up for auction that you will not meet in the usual market, so they have the opportunity to meet some rare little thing. And so they went to the auction hall. It seems not many people participate, and the level is really not as good as the previous one. Shihao noticed that there were not even hidden personalities. The girl agreed with him. Still, they are at an auction that is located in the safe zone of the black market. But even here he can meet any kind of adventure. Xiao Hao, looking at one guy, thought that he had the feeling as if he knew him. This is still he. It is amazing that they met here again. The past of their meeting, instead of the level, had a question mark. But now he turns out to be only 60s. In the past, when he was a newcomer, he took care of him. Have they met? Shi Hao decided to see if he had the opportunity to return the debt. The presenter announced that after fierce bets for the previous 4 items, they are ready to declare their final auction. The guy gave the attention of the ladies and gentlemen the subject of the divine level. This is a high-class potion of a gift from God of Love. A long, bearded man explained that this potion does not need a detailed description. All men in the hall understand what is being discussed. If they buy one potion, then the second as a gift. When buying a potion, they will get a scroll for its manufacture as a gift. The initial price is 1 million. The guys spoke about what the old man Li thinks about. He was not at that age. He still wants his old trunk to bloom with new colors. Li said that she did not think that for the final auction they would put up such a useless thing. Besides the Master Li, no one needs it anymore. Suddenly, Shi Hao raised his hand and offered 2 million for her. The girl was very surprised at his choice. One of the auction participants was surprised that this guy decided to bet. It is clear that he is still young. Does he really want to experiment? The second replied that he would not go. The girl asked Xiao why did he need this potion? Or he has some secrets in this regard. She promised to help him cope with this. But the boy just wanted to mock these guys from the clan Huanzheng. She said that she heard when her friend met him had some kind of deal with this Master Li. Shi Hao replied that everything was right. When he was young and did not understand many things, this old man threw him. Therefore this time he wants to return to him the debt for the last case. The old man offered 5 million for the potion. Shi Hao raised the price to 10 million. When the old man offered 20. What kind of wise guy sat on the balcony? He could not understand why the guy decided to compete with him. It was better for him not to anger him. He decided that the girl next to Shi Hao, from the Kanmo clan, and her name is Si Li. This guy standing next to her, probably her dandy with whom she is nursing. It would be better to return to his helpless possessions to his helpless friends to enjoy life. And he will not soon lose everything that values. Shi Hao asked the girl not to show her emotions and leave his grandfather on him. The last time, there was no such intensity of passions as here. It is not surprising that this is a final auction, and the final price was 20 million. The rate sounded 3 times, after which it was sold. Are the master of the Huanzhong clan a gift from God of Love? The old man asked him to better not catch his eye again, otherwise he would pay his life. Shi Hao asked if he was sure, and he threw a despicable look at him. The old man was very angry. On a thing that could be bought in just 1 million, he spent so much money. And all this is because of a boy who did not understand where he got out. He asked to verify the information about this guy who came with Li. So he has some kind of connection with the Hanmo clan. Shi Hao asked not to bother. It will be easier for him if he himself comes to him. They met again, and when he should pay with life. The old man remembered him. It was he who had already met him in the number 9 black market for a long time ago. He called this boy a bastard. Did he really want to take revenge on him at the auction? The old man gave his people to kill him immediately. Shi Hao noticed that he did not recognize him right away. Apparently, the old man's vision is already failing him. But it's too late. The old man did not see the road because of the explosions and fire. He asked if the guy wants to take revenge on him. He even knows who he is. He belongs to the clan Huanzheng. Shi Hao replied that it turns out he beats people from the Huanzheng clan. The old man began to scream and asked to save him. A notification of the system came. To maintain safety during the trip, it is necessary to fasten the seatbelts. Xiao Hao grabbed the old man by the breast and asked if he was surprised. The old man apologized and asked to spare him. He did not want to be at enmity with him anymore. He pleaded his guilt, and he said that he was just too old, so he carries all nonsense. He asked him to understand him. He does not want to make enemies at such an elderly. The boy replied that he wanted to deal with him, but today he was lucky. He has things that may come in handy, Shi Hao said, as if he had heard that he was a high-class alchemist. He probably has a huge number of secret recipes for making potions. He wants to replenish his knowledge with secret recipes. The old man immediately agreed with him and said that he has a couple of recipes that will be interested in him. Only he did not think that a warrior who possessed such a force could still be carried away by alchemy. He called the kid a multilateral personality. Only now his house is far from here, and all the drivers fled. Shi Hao told the old man that he would carry him. He asked for a slower as it is difficult to endure flights. All his recipes and ingredients are right here. He has items for a high level of alchemy and for the level of the master. The old man told the guy that he could take everything that would be interested in. Shihao said that this is very good. The quantity and quality exceeded his expectations. The old man thought he could take these items. In addition to the sale, he still will not be able to use them somewhere. He seems to have already remembered the recipe for manufacturing. In the future, he will be pursued by the clan Huanzheng. So sooner or later, all recipes will return to him. Shihao noticed that the clan had already set the award for him. The boy decided to pay him, and the old man will help him secretly remove the announcement of a reward for his head. Li answered that in this case, it is better to kill him now. It is better to choose death than the path of the traitor. He will not be able to do it. Shihao asked him to calm down. He does not want him to do it for free. He offers him a reward, from which he will not be able to refuse. The old man exclaimed, asking which award could be more important than his own life. The old man, like him, has already seen everything in this world. He cannot make him do it. Shihao invited him to help advance in the skill of alchemy. He stuck at a high level and it seems difficult. He bought so many recipes, but not one could not make. The old man explained that he was at this level for more than 10 years. Therefore, it can only dream of achieving the level of a master in alchemy. He should not joke like him like that. He gave his whole life to the study of alchemy. He will not allow some kind of jerk to mock him. Shihao said that in this world there are a lot of things that are not so easy to explain. He asked to explain how this bottle was in his hands right now. It was a potion with the knowledge of the master of alchemy. This kind of product cannot be bought in stores or at auctions. Shihao explained that he had just used his ingredients to create a potion of alchemy master. The old man exclaimed that this was a lie. How such a jerk could create a potion of this level? He seems to deceive him if he knows at least how rare it is a potion. The boy replied that if he does not believe, then he would throw him out. But the old man's lips do not say, and the body screams about the opposite. How can he? The body seems to live its own life. But the old man cannot lose such a potion. For that matter, then he can try to drink him, and there he will recognize the liar or not. The old man thought that at first glance it was like a completely ordinary bottle. It is very difficult to understand, because for more than 10 years he has not been able to create such a potion. And some jerk took and did it the first time. The old man began to drink the potion, still not believing in it. All the same, someday he will die, so he is ready to experience everything regarding alchemy. He laughed and said that he was not feeling any changes. He knew that the guy was just a deceiver. But then the old man felt some changes in himself. How great this feeling! Unprecedented calm, peace. His mind became extremely clear. It feels like he is about to know all the secret knowledge of the universe. What a wonderful sensation! This feeling cannot be described in words. How great! Shihao asked the old man how he had it. Is his good potion enough? The old man asked why the effect ended. He thought that he adds 30% of intelligence, but he increased only by 5. The boy explained that he made a limited dose, so this happened. How he could let him drink everything. This is a very rare potion. He left him for the future. Wants the old man to first provide him with a service. He will help him become a master in alchemy, and he himself will be able to make such potions. The old man asked for forgiveness from the master and said, falling to his knees in front of him, that he was a fool who had not believed in his knowledge at once. He called him a real master of alchemy. The age of the kid does not matter. His knowledge goes beyond this world. He wants the boy to teach him everything that he can. It doesn't matter what kind of fee. Let it be money, girls, apartments, or secret recipes of potions. He wants to learn everything he can. The main thing is that he helps him become a master of alchemy. Shihao replied that no problem. It is necessary that the old man helps him understand the Huanzheng clan. And then they agreed. The old man exclaimed that he would do everything in his power. His old man will risk his life in order to complete his task. Shihao replied that even if they became friends, do not need such courtesies. He has one question for him. The boy asked why for such a long period he could not become a master in alchemy. What is the reason? The old man began to explain that alchemy at the very beginning helped him earn money, and after that, with its help he was able to reach the honorary place in the clan of Huanzheng. A person can succeed well if he does what he loves. After so many years, he was able to achieve a high class in alchemy. This helped him in the clan Huanzheng. But no matter how hard he tried, he still could not achieve his goal to become a master of alchemy. The money became uninteresting to him. He just wanted recognition. But all dreams were left behind. And in this difficult time for him, Shi Chao appeared. He could not achieve his goal all his life, and Shihao is smart for years. He came and instilled new hope in him. The time will come when he reaches the class of the god of alchemy. Shihao said that he needs all the passwords from the old man, all the structures of the clan mechanisms, and all the information about the staff. He needs to know all the weaknesses of the clan, loopholes, hidden guns that are dangerous for their enemies. The old man replied that he would follow the instructions of the master and do everything possible to live up to his expectations. This old man Lee was not so bad. He gave the guy all his ingredients and recipes, and right before leaving, he gave him 100 million. After that, his assets reached unprecedented heights. In just one day, he was able to earn so much money. He did not even dream of this before. But this is all thanks to Mosa. Objectively, the manufacture of potions with the help of moss also requires a lot of costs. If he could make money on this, he would never have achieved such success. Therefore, a secret account is a master of alchemy. Someone with the level of an engineering master mentioned that tomorrow it would be necessary to learn more about this. Today he made too many potions. It's time to relax. Otherwise he falls asleep on the go. What is this place? Was he just not in his bed? Is he really in his dream? Around him were some monsters and said that they finally found him. The boy realized in a dream that they were ancient gods. He asked if they were looking for him, and why they were looking for. Why did he suddenly become interesting to them? The monster replied that they really were looking for him for a long time. They did not think that he himself would call them. Although the reason is unknown to them, they cannot miss this excellent opportunity. And the boy will not run away anywhere. Shihao was completely shrouded in some kind of red sticky web. I can't get out of it. He did not manage to use a fiery flame. How is it possible? And what kind of trap is? Do his forces do not work in this place? The monster asked the boy to fall asleep. The chosen one must remain in this world. Shihao apologized to them and explained that there are a lot of people who want to get him. Therefore, they will have to stand in line. It looks like one of their gods took his side. Maybe they found him, but now he is his master. If they want to kill him, then first you need to go through it. They were very surprised why Kraken decided to betray them. The monster called the guy. He looked at him. Although Shihao was able to take control of Kraken, does he think that he would cope with such a divine force? The monster called Kraken as a traitor. Does he really want to attend this man with them? Shihao thought that this could not continue. Protection used by the ancient god will not be able to last too long. He needs to get out of here rather, but how to do it? He asked Kraken if he was talking to him. What he wants to tell him. He cannot understand him. Kraken, looking at him, really tried to tell him something. The boy noticed that something was wrong with water. He flew into some abyss, and he asked Kraken what he was doing. Shihao found himself at home. It looks like he finally returned to the real world. But what was it just? Some nightmare. He saw traces of beatings on himself. Then it was definitely not a dream. Previously, he did not encounter the ancient gods, why they were looking for him. Maybe he prevented their ritual in a past life. His account is not able to withstand such creatures. Thanks to this stone that calls Kraken, he was at least somehow able to return to the real world. It seems that they learned about him after his last use of this stone. He will have to be neat with him. Shihao decided to enter the system. The dragon rushed towards him. The boy apologized to him for making him worry. He asked the system if there was a record of what happened to him in a dream. The system replied that it was blocked by unknown and powerful power. The system has lost contact with the owner for some time, so it is impossible to find out what happened to him in a dream. Even the system is not able to recognize. It seems that the power of the ancient gods is too far. If not for the help of Kraken, then he would be dead. He asked the system what she knows about Kraken. The system explained that it owns information about their world. It has no data regarding magical creatures, but she can advise several ways of decisions. Unlock the account of the all-knowing. Or rather, create a potion of omniscience, and then any secrets of the world will be discovered to him. I would have listened to the system of my own advice, where he will get the account of the all-knowing. He is generally silent about the manufacture of a potion, after which the guy left the system. What a beautiful view from the window. Who would have thought how many more dangers are hiding in the world? Those ancient gods are completely different from ordinary monsters. In the clan, he will definitely not find the necessary information. Perhaps only in the monastery of the ancient world they will be able to somehow help him. He does not even know if there is number 8 of their refuge in the area. Although the last time he interrupted their rite of call, they always return. If with the call of the old gods, they increase their strength, then in the future, it will become a huge problem for him. The next morning, Shihao did not really get enough sleep. He thought about yesterday all night. Parents told the guy that looking at him the feeling that something was bothering him. Did he really sleep badly yesterday? Shihao asked his parents to calm down and said that he was in order. Their son is very strong and able to easily cope with any problem. The sister greeted her brother and parents. She asked Chi-Chi to appreciate the new clothes soon. The girl wished everyone a good morning, and the girl robot still wanted to sleep. Shihao thought that at the sight of Chi-Chi, his fatigue in an instant disappeared, and he completely came to his senses. Is it somehow connected with its special skills? How cool she is. The sister said that she needed to discuss something with him. He and Chi-Chi will go to the concert of Lee today. She has already planned everything. Shihao suggested that one day the day would come, and despite the fact that he did not like this kind of concerts, he could not refuse his beloved sister. The sister hugged her brother and thanked him. He replied that Chi-Chi was here for the first time and she did not even ask how the family relate to this. The boy decided to say anything about it. He asked if Nana was coming to them. The sister replied that unfortunately she did not want to go. Nana explained that there are still a bunch of things that need to be done at home, and she wished them to rest well. Especially if they are going to dance and perform rap, then what is fun in this? It would be super boring on her. And here is the area number 8 in front of us. The guys around noticed that Shi Chao had come with 2 girls. The boy said that usually concerts begin in the evening. Why everyone came so early? My sister asked her brother why he was looking there. The guys just envied this guy. In front of him, some entrance to the teleport arose. True, but it was done by people. The company of the Kingdom of an Angel. That's why it holds the entire market under him. They have enough funds and influence to organize such events. And they can use space technologies of teleportation. They are going to put everyone in a teleport and create the illusion that they are in space, but everything will look realistic. Is it not the same as the auction of Victoria's Secret? However, the technique is very impressive if tens of thousands of people can accommodate in it. But there are too many people here. The girl asked Xiao, did he not say that he did not like such events? How he was here. The boy explained that his sister dragged him. The sister greeted the girl. She asked Xiao Hao what he was standing in line. Everyone from the Hanmo clan has tickets for this concert, and he can go around the line. The girl called him to go with her so that she showed him the VIP zone. She just has something to discuss with the organizers of the Kingdom of an Angel. Sister Shi Hao exclaimed that at last it was not necessary to stand in line. VIP is cool. Shi Hao decided to follow her only because it's such a big event. Anything. They should hold together. However, the Kingdom of an Angel is a large organization. They probably have a rich experience in solving problems. They will hope that nothing will happen. And here is the beginning of teleportation. Yunfei noticed that this was the path to the performance. The trip of dreams is just amazing. How is all dazzling? It hurts the eyes. Xiao Hao began to reassure Chi-Chi. For the first time always, he promised that over time she would get used to it. The boy was surprised at what is happening in a black hole. How beautiful is there? Now he understands why the performances are so popular. Yunfei told his brother that they were only at the very beginning. All the best is still ahead and immediately laughed. Chi-Chi exclaimed that her head was walking around. The robot greeted everyone. He was the host of the concert program and said that they could call him Dada. Now he will tell everyone the new one how the performance will take place. On this concert venue, in addition to the usual, there are also likes. Since this concert has a direct broadcast throughout the city, each viewer has the right to sacrifice likes in support of the participants. All income will be restored to the 9th region. One of the spectators shouted, "Was it really possible to have dinner with Lee?" He asked everyone to vote for him. The other guy asked where he was in a hurry, and he said that Miss Lee was waiting for him. Shi Hao thought that these crazy fans are superior to all his expectations. He is embarrassed by all this movement with likes and dinner. This is definitely not for him. Perhaps he will just listen to music. One of the fans asked whether they heard that a lot of rich people tried to get dinner with her, but she never agreed. It probably would cost incredible money. Shi Hao was surprised what they only think about. It seems to him to go a little forward. The robot finally said that with regard to private life, no one should worry about anyone. When the concert begins, everyone will be able to put on their own skin. Information about the person will be hidden. One of the fans was even a little offensive. People looking outside will not be able to find out who is who. And now the time has already come close. The countdown began. And finally the time has come. The spectators began to absorb a black hole. How exciting was. Shi Hao asked his sister and Chi-Chi to pull him to him. He noticed that the girls were ignored. He is too far from them. Will they be able to recognize each other when they wear skins, although something bad is unlikely to happen? Shihao decided that he was most likely worried too much. It was very light around. The song began. Where spring comes, swallows return there. New dreams will bloom on the remnants of the past. She pulls out the weeds of a past life to look into the future. Yesterday's life turned into fragments of memories. But his love is not far off at all. She said goodbye to the past, with a smile on her face and sunlight. Shihao felt such a feeling that his expectation really surpassed. It is not surprising that it is so popular. Even he will soon become her fan. It is necessary to calm down soon. The girl began to attract everyone along. She asked everyone together to return to Earth. She had many likes. It hurts to look at his position in the ranking. The robot said that the performance begins. He suggested showing how they love them to Lee. So here it is. He asked if it was possible to make likes, just breaking meteors. The guys wondered where the fire was getting from the takeoff. Yes, and what speed. In front of them were some bright fiery meteors. It was somehow too strange. Shihao asked for forgiveness from the girls and said that he needed to earn points. Since all this is not real, you can have fun well. But what is happening there? This guy carries all meteors. Does this happen? He rises to the upper line according to the rating of likes. It was Xiao Hao. The singer's girl gave the kid a small reward in the form of many hearts. Shihao was improved by a female kiss. All characteristics were increased by 20%. The receipt of 30% points, 5 minutes long, has been increased. The boy noticed that this kiss improves its characteristics. The girl sang that this planet was beautiful, but now she was empty. She quietly prays to the stars to save this land. Shihao recalled that it was called an artificial satellite. Previously, people used it to study space. Now this can be seen only in books. Since the world has become so, people can only hold together. Survival was the main priority, and the study of the universe for a long time was a distant and unreal dream. They succumbed to the power of gravity and break through the atmospheric layer. The brilliant light of meteors, shining stardust. This place passed through billions of light years. She alone protects an empty city, looks into the sky without looking up. Only for the sake of a future fate, she remains with him. Everyone asked to accelerate. This battle with the final boss is a good opportunity to earn points. It is necessary to destroy the boss faster and save them. A scarlet dragon of the 90s appeared. Sai exclaimed that he finally got to second place. If he destroys this boss, then Lee will definitely be him. But he noticed that in front of him was a guy who was in the first place. He goes to certain death. Well, excellent. If he dies, then he will automatically rise in the first place. The system warned Shihao to return to the pilot's cab. Otherwise, he will lose points. Shihao asked not to interfere. This boss does not pose any threat. He will need to use his method of fighting. It is only necessary to deal with him. The boss was defeated, and the points of that guy disappeared. Shihao thanked the beautiful singer. Thanks to her singing, they were all inspired to fight with enemies. Who would have thought that he would kill the boss from one blow? Does its level really exceeds the 9 tree? It seems equal in strength to this boss. Shihao said that he was just an ordinary passerby, nothing more. Today he became her fan. However, he has one question for her. Is it not a hologram of its presence? The girl replied that he was very insightful. But now is not the time to answer his question. The presentation has not yet been completed. She called him a cool brother and abandoned him in the end that they would see herself soon. She is looking forward to him at the last performance. He asked that over the last performance. Shihao suddenly got an improvement again. Kiss of the Goddess of Love. The effect was launched. 50,000 points were obtained. The song sounded again. Monsters carry endless destruction. People are in grief, lost their house and wandering around the world. Only love and hope remained. The crowd screamed, calling the name of the singer. The light finally put on the dark shell. So the words of this sad song sounded. The clarity flower finally blossomed on the wreckage of the past, which has already inspired hope for the future. The girl raised her hand up and asked her fans to sing with her. Shihao asked her how he ended up on stage. What happened at all? The girl replied that this was the last performance. The robot greeted the last part of their performance. Anyone who earned the most points will perform along with one on the same stage. The more likes, the faster the restoration of the district will pass. Those who are watching a concert in direct broadcast can also like likes. If the number of dislikes exceeds the norm, the earned points will be burned. The crowd shouted that this goose is not worthy to be there. Those who allowed such a stupid on stage, he does not even understand music. Let him fall in the mud, and then they can take his place on the stage. The guys promised the kid a sufficient number of dislikes. Li said Shichao that he should not listen to what they say. She will help him on the stage, and they will do it together. The boy thanked her for the help, but said that their words could not influence him in any way. But he needed another reward. For the sake of his sister, he would not allow the fiasco in this show. The girl said that his sister has a worthy brother, and this attracts. Shihao took out a combat guitar for battle and music. Fingers follow the call of the heart. When playing the instrument, you become the most beautiful on stage. The boy raised his hand up and exclaimed that exactly he was going to do. Despite the fact that he is not a special fan of this, Yunfei sings songs next to him every evening. He heard all their songs, his mouth will sing, and now the music poured under the strings of the guitar. The guys around were surprised, they never heard the rock and roll remix of this song. This is a completely different style and sounds very interesting. That year, Li was in the prime of her career. He did not stop surprising the girl. How he succeeds. She decided to do it with him. The singer wanted to blow up the scene. Shihao told the girl in the song that he loves her, and she is very beautiful. Her songs and dances will always remain in his heart, and he will love her until the last sigh. The crowd shouted that the performance of this guy betrays their strength. The whole body is filled with warmth. They first see this guy, but it is very cool. Where so good songs come from in the world. The guys had a stormy impulse of emotions. The heart jumped out of the chest. Shihao took first place. One of the guys fell to his knees and began to cry. He heard this song so many times, listened to many versions. His eyes filled with tears. This style simply fits perfectly here. Just amazing. Shichao has a large number of likes. This song gained many approvals from the side, and it was cool. The guys noticed that to surprise, this area really began to recover. This guy is really magnificent. It seems that he will become a future star. The crowd thanked the guys for giving them such a colorful concert. The robot said that the concert is coming to an end. District number 9 is completely restored. He thanked all the guests for his support. Now the countdown begins in 1 minute. The robot said that they would be seen soon, so he would not say goodbye. Li said Xiao that the concert turned out to be really magnificent, and he is now a large star. The boy replied that he was an ordinary person. If she had not helped him in the performance, they would not have succeeded. The girl said that she does not believe that he is an ordinary person. Previously, he asked her whether she or a hologram is real. Now she can answer him his question. The girl said that she was categorically not. At the moment she is outside this world, her consciousness fully controls the body. Shihao exclaimed that now everything is clear to him. It is not surprising that this is called the Kingdom of Angels. I just can't believe what progress has achieved. The guys were surprised why the countdown went minus. Is there really an error in the system? They have not yet been moved. An explosion occurred and the system scattered into pieces. What happens in the end? Some guy said that the performance turned out and really amazing. Everyone managed to capture it. He exclaimed that everyone could now die without regrets. This guy asked others to be ready for death. The man from the crowd asked who he was. He came here to spoil their concert. The guy asked for permission to introduce himself. His name is Deus. Is it not great? He asked others to stay as he needed help. The guy was 105th level. He asked for a short request. He needs them to sacrifice his life and soul to him. This will be all the smallest contribution to the presentation of the victim to the ancient gods. Shihao was surprised at the guy's words. He knew that people from the monastery of the ancient world were dangerous, but to such an extent. He has a high level, but he came here alone. Is he really so self-confident? They began to shoot at this guy with fiery rays. One of the men exclaimed that even though he has 105th levels, but there are more than 10,000 people here, it would be an unequal battle. If each of them makes at least one attack, this will be enough to win over it. No matter what a high level he has, he will not leave here alive. The guys called him a sectarian discharge. If he obeys heaven, they promise him to send him there. They asked the guy how to get out of here. Whether she said that it was not so simple. It cannot be that he alone controls this place. There are definitely those who help him outside. Shihao asked if they kill him to get out of here. The girl replied no. Deus laughed on the ground. The guys called him a madman. Why does he smile before his death? Laughing, he exclaimed that this world would soon go crazy. Level, inventory, game world, are these completely ordinary things? They didn't even think about it. They are just an ordinary flock of sheep, and will soon be absorbed in this crazy world. Soon he will come to an end. The era of chaos will begin to rule on this earth. The guys could not understand where he came from. They said that for the revival of the ancient world, they must present the most important happiness. The guys could not understand how everything around itself exploded. Something is wrong with this blood. Some terrible monsters appeared around. One of them exclaimed that his body was transforming. The crowd began to scatter and ask for help. Whether she said that they needed to run more. If this strange blood attacks them, then they will also turn into monsters. Shihao replied that he could not run. First he needs to find his friends. The system launched the map and the nearest territory was shown. Due to the fact that at the very beginning of the concert, Yunfei and Chi-Chi fled in different directions, Chaos has not yet seen them. Meanwhile, the monster was already getting to them. He felt as if he was dying. Finally he got to Su Li. The girl was very scared, closing her hands from an evil monster. He put his paw with huge, sharp claws and decided to give death to the girl. Xiaohao hugged her defending and asked to calm down. The boy noticed that he was very strong and beautiful. He has an unprecedented power of a huge outside. But why at such a terrible time he began to think about it. What to do now? Shihao told Sei Li that he has one question for her. If she is now a hologram and die in this world, then what happens to her in the present? The girl replied that it all depends on how her brain reacts. If you are not lucky, it may die. And if luck will be on its side, will definitely survive. The boy offered to go with him. He will be able to protect her. Even if she dies in this world, his sister will be very upset. She was very surprised to see that he had a sled dragon. Even the rich cannot afford this. Shihao replied that it did not matter and asked him to hold on tightly for him. They should not waste time. He needs to find his sister and colleague. Meanwhile, a crowd of people ran away from the monster. What does he eventually want? One of the guys whom the monster enveloped in a web exclaimed that there were a lot of rich people who were ready to pay him so that he would not touch them. The monster replied that the poor man, lucky or rich in his world, everyone would be equal. Complete life force, their hope. All this gives the ancient gods more power. They are all people. The guy shouted with a terrible cry that he did not want to die, and he asked to save him soon. The second asked to let him go, because he has a bunch of children. I just asked to say how much money they need. The guy told them rather to run away, their fear and broken hope. The ancient gods especially love this taste. What a great taste. The Xiaohao dragon began to erupt the red-hot flame. Deuce noticed that apparently someone else was trying to resist. This will allow him to teach them a good lesson. He asked the guys to prepare to accept their fate. Deus decided that he did not hear him. He asked how the situation is there. How are things outside? Meanwhile, the place of control over concentrates and performances. They kept machine guns over the guys and asked to stay on the floor. Li Fengxi answered the guy that they had some problems, but they had already corrected everything and should not worry. It is not surprising that this platform does not at all correspond to his expectations, but the fire mower, on which he had previously practiced, completely coincides with the here. However, this platform has a security restriction. It will take him 20 minutes to redo the code for the call mode. This is enough to keep everyone in this world. Deuce asked him if he was sure that he would succeed. Li Fengxi asked him not to worry, since everything is under control. Only 20 minutes to start rebooting the world and end it. The call of combat robots of the second-level dragons is activated. The number of robots is 50. The task is to destroy everything that gives a fighting. These are their drones. How they could take control. The reinforcement of the protective howls of the 8th district arrived. It is necessary to start completing the task. But something was incomprehensible. Why drones suddenly began to attack the protective troops? People asked for help. Dus laughed and repeatedly repeated that there were a lot of drones around. How beautiful the sound of war is, he caresses his ears. And all these amazing sounds of despair and death only for them. They will certainly fulfill their duty to the higher gods. Li Fengxi was 18th. She decided that she would not go. Too many people in great chaos are everywhere. Despite the fact that the shell no longer protects them, they must try to get them out of this madness. Fei Fei decided to find her brother as soon as possible. It will be faster and easier with him. But she cannot leave them all to the mercy of fate. Her brother must find her. Maybe you should try to give him a sign. Despite the fact that the mess is going on Earth, the sky is still clean. This is the first ability she received. Her brother is well acquainted with her. If only he saw her. The monster was surprised that at such a terrible time she lets off fireworks. Or she gives everyone a sign where she is to be found quickly. If at least a little of his skin suffers, then he will assume that he lost. The girl thought that too much the difference in level would not work to inflict damage to him. Her abilities are completely useless against him. It is necessary to avoid the battle somehow. This was her last attempt. She believed in her brother, believed that he would see her signal and come to the rescue. The monster exclaimed that her attempts were exhausted, and he asked to climb into his stomach soon. Then the voice of Shichao was heard. How he dares to attack his sister. And the monster climbed into the stomach of the two-legged crocodile. Xiao Hao asked Fei Fei in order of Li, and he apologized for who came so late. The girl hugged her brother and exclaimed that he was very cool. He came to save her, and the efforts were not in vain. The brother replied that he could not help but see her signal. This is the first ability that she learned. She used to use it before. The sister opened his eyes to the truth. She could confidently fight the enemy. He used to think that it was better for his family to be away from danger. But in this world, it is at every step, so he should change his relationship. In addition to protecting his family, he should help in increasing their levels. Only then will he be sure that they can take care of themselves. Li said Xiao Hao that he was glad that his family is together again. Fei Fei was very surprised that her brother was with this girl. She told the singer, who is her big fan. She wanted to take an autograph from her, but her brother exclaimed that now was not the time for this. Li said that she was no problem. Shi Hao began to be angry. After all, he said that now is the wrong time for this. He asked Li to stop assessing her. The boy said that it was time to go. Chi-Chi is in danger and they should rather help her. Fei Fei asked when her brother got such a steep transport. He replied that this was a long story. The sister noticed that her brother had become so strong. It seemed to her that they began to move away. How to reduce this gap between them? Shi Hao said that she should not worry. First they will deal with this, and then think about how to increase its level. Fei Fei decided that her brother was reading her thoughts. But what happened? Chi-Chi's icon suddenly disappeared from the radar. Did she really encounter monsters? Fei Fei asked his brother what he was looking for. Chi-Chi was in Dave. Shi Hao asked to let her go faster. The guy could not understand what he was so evil. He did not go to save her first, so he thought that this girl does not mean anything to him. Of course, it blows a special force, and it does not look like an ordinary person. It is not surprising that he immediately drew attention to her. The smell of her body increasingly causes his appetite. How insulting it will be goodbye to such a copy. Therefore, he did not fight with him when he paid attention to her. Shi Hao asked what he wanted to say all this. Dave explained that he wants to give him the opportunity to join their monastery, so their death will not be in vain. He promises him to see the real power of the ancient gods. Shi Hao noticed that this guy is too strong. How to attack him so as not to hurt Chi-Chi? Shi Hao told the guy that he did not believe his words. How does he know that he has a similar force? Dave replied that he was sure of this. He smells exactly the same as he feels the smell of the ancient gods, which comes from Shao. But the guy could not understand why he did not feel him. What will be his benefit if he joins his grouping, and what are their advantages? Dave replied that in order to be part of such an organization and worship such powerful creatures, this is their advantage. Apparently, he only looks like a strong opponent outside, but in reality, he is nothing of himself. Shi Hao noticed that he was able to play on his nerves. It is necessary to concentrate more of his hatred on him. He apologized and said that he was a convinced pragmatist. He will not be able to interest him in some faith in unknown creatures. All his promises are ridiculous nonsense. He asked him to come up with something better. Dave could not understand how he dares to doubt the strength of the ancient gods. He promised that the boy would pay for his godlessness. He will teach him how to relate to holy beings. Shi Hao exclaimed that he refuses to believe. The boy gave the command of the Red Comet to take Chi-Chi away from here. Dave said that he does not use all his power, but this is enough to punish such a low-level freak. He promised to turn it into minced meat, and he said that the boy would answer for her words. Shi Hao exclaimed that in this case he would have to disappoint him. After all, no one could ever change his opinion using force. Dave replied that he has a special spiritual status, and no one could break his faith in the ancient gods. He will show him this in practice. Fei Fei could not understand what was happening in the sky and what it was for a break. Shi Hao asked to be careful. It seems that something is climbing from there. What is it? Is it really a clock? Where did it come from and how he managed to call it? Chi-Chi thought that these were apparently people who were teleporting them outside. They can control everything at will. Fei Fei began to worry about how they could defeat him. Shi Hao thought that even if he controls this whole world, they will still be able to find a way to win it. First, you need to save these people. If they kill him, then how they can get out of here? You need to think carefully. Previously, Dave was a very famous psychologist. He was able to cure an unread number of people. But it's ridiculous that he could not save his love when she met the monster. She died before his eyes, and his faith completely disappeared. But at one point, he realized that there was no guilt in this. This world is a mistake. This era is all sick. The whole world is a huge mistake. Only the ancient world has the right to exist. Anyone who comes to the realization that ancient gods are great creatures will be encouraged. Now he will give all his faith and hope to them, people. The girls were very surprised at these statements and thought that the matter was bad. Shihao noticed that all people succumbed to trance. The guys agreed to sacrifice their soul. Welcome the ancient gods. Dave noticed that Shichao was really not simple, since he was not able to enter him into a trance. Then he asked for permission to use the strongest of his spells. He wanted to find the way to the guy's heart. He began to use the power of conquering the mind. He noticed that the guy finally succumbed. No one can repulse his spells of reason, so Shichao lost. It's time to start the last step. It is to take possession of his heart and destroy everything that he cores so. Xiaohao grabbed his hand and asked if he wanted to touch everything dear to him. The boy exclaimed that not in this life. Shihao said that he did not have enough money to get to him, and he asked if he could donate a couple of million coins to him. The enemy was very surprised at how he did not fall into a trance from magic. He admitted that his trick was really strong, at least for a moment, but he was able to feel confusion and despair. Shihao exclaimed that he also had a lot of ants in his sleeve. It is not so easy to take control of him. How lucky was that in his inventory, there were things that were able to block control of the owner. If not for them, then he would definitely succumb. The dragon is wearing a precious eye, a dragon's gear sword. When using these things, the effect of immunity to control consciousness appears. Dus laughed and noticed that the boy was really cool. He was right when he said that they were similar to him. No wonder he said that the smell of the ancient gods blows from him. Shihao asked to listen to him carefully. Now he will free everyone and unlock the way out of this world. Otherwise, he will achieve the guy dying in torment. Dus laughed and replied that they would all fall in torment and suffering from Kraken, the oldest god. Each person knows what real pain is. After 1 minute, Kraken will come here and absorb every living creature. The guy fell to his knees and asked the others to be ready to meet his fate. People from the crowd worshipped and greeted the ancient gods. They asked them to give them suffering and pain. Dus exclaimed that even he could not close the passage, what he had done. Shihao realized that he was a servant of a large-eyed, and why he had not said before. In this case, he must obey him. Dus replied that he did not understand what he was talking about at all. Shihao answered the guy that he is the owner of Kraken. Simply put, this is the ancient god. Dus asked him how he dares to respond so much about the great creature. He promised to teach him respect. Shihao asked why he treated the owner of gods so much. Maybe this is still worth learning to manners. He definitely went crazy, but it makes no sense to kill him somehow. You need to force him to open the gate into their world. All people are now under hypnosis. It is a little dangerous to call Kraken, but for the sake of safety, he should move away. Dus noticed that the guy runs away and shouted after him that this would not help him. He said that now everyone in this world is under his control. And even abroad are his people who control the gate, so he does not make sense to run. Shihao replied that there was no such word to run away in his dictionary. However, he does not look like a person who has at least some kind of education. He talks so much about his faith in the ancient gods, about how powerful they are, that he is their faithful servant, but whether he himself believes in his words. He subjugated so many people, but why by this time he could not call Kraken? What is the reason? He can answer this question. The reason is that he obeys only him. Dus asked the boy to calm down. He wants to powder his brains and faith with his foul language. No one can ever break his faith in earth. He asked a large-eyed, handsome man to come to this city, which never knows the false faith. The call of the magic stone is launched. The call of the new god. Shihao asked how he was. Finally, he saw his long-awaited god. What are his sensations after that? Dus fell to his knees and began to scream. Finally, he responded. Finally, the ancient god Kraken came. His main goal has been achieved. Now he can calmly die. He admitted that Shichao was stronger than the ancient god Kraken, so he is a new god. He asked him to give him death for committed sins. Let him plunge into endless torment and suffering in hell. He is ready to sacrifice everything that he has. Shihao thought there were some strange requests. He said that there is no doubt about his devotion, but if he stops everything that happens in this world, he may be left alive. Dus replied that he was not able to fulfill his demand. Since they launched the virus into this program, there is no way out of here. If he entered, it will not work. But before you come here, he thought out one way out. Only 5 people will be able to leave this world. He asked the boy to take the closest and faithful people outside the borders, so that they could completely change this world. Shihao realized that only 5 people could be transported, so he will have to leave the rest to his faithful death, as he can go down to this. The boy asked Weiss if he could use the engineering masters to work on this controller and change his functions. The robot replied that it was quite possible, but only 60 seconds were left for transportation. He does not know if there is enough time for them. But there was no time to think. It was necessary to try. But what is happening? They just bowed to this big clock, as it happened at all. The guys around looked at the sky. Transportation most likely has already launched. People did not know in what direction they were to run. They shouted that they would die in this world, and they have nowhere to run. They can leave their hopes for salvation. Death is inevitable. Feifei exclaimed that they could not just leave hope. She believes in the brother, and he will find a way to save them all. Is it really a timer for transportation? There is very little time left. Finally began. It is necessary to allow the ancient god Kraken to come to their world. Long live the ancient gods. The guys around did not stop bowing to him. The system gave an error. An unknown source of data led to the forced removal of transportation transformations. An external error was found when reading data. One of the guys exclaimed that this could not be, and he needs to update the data on the transportation of objects, rather. The second said that they need to leave. It becomes dangerous outside. There is no time to wait. You need to run away. But they cannot leave Deus inside. The second man replied that they were already late, and they always have to sacrifice something. If they do not have time to save him, then you need to be saved by themselves. Time was successfully stopped. They were able to stop the timer, but the destruction inside has not yet stopped. It became only worse. Outside, people apparently no longer control this world. Now their problem is the transportation of a huge number of people. Xiao Hao got an idea. He asked if his relatives asked. The girls replied that everything was fine, but something was wrong with it. It just happened to her, but they do not understand what. Either she returns to the real world, or she is now dying. The girl asked them not to worry, as it was her fate. She thanked the guy. She was glad to meet him, but now is the time to say goodbye. Shihao took her hand and said that their performance was not over yet. He asked her to make this performance most memorable in her life. Li said that as soon as this world knew pain and destruction, she could not help anything, could not stop this chaos. People around shouted Maul about salvation. They did not want to die. And Li said that despite the fact that the system was hacked, she could still contact the outside world. But no one answered her. If all the servers were hacked by villains, then what about people? Shihao explained to her that her idea helps them hope for the best. She could not give up. The girl could not understand what kind of sensations. Something seemed to penetrate her body. Shihao asked her not to be afraid, because he figured out problems outside. Now a non-limited number of people can teleport to the real world. He asked the girl to just trust him. Now is not the time to chat. She just needs to get together with strength. The guys around noticed a portal in the sky. They realized that they were finally saved. But how to go upstairs? Li said Xiao Hao what they did. The teleport is open, and this is all thanks to him. The boy replied that this was still not the end. This teleport is not able to transfer all people. Shihao did not think that the call of God would take so much strength. He did not want to leave it just like that. They need to finish the begun. Weiss said that this was because the owner again used the callstone. But this time he lost more strength than usual. He has a good rest. Li said that he did enough to save a huge number of inhabitants. It is to blame for what happened here. Feifei told her brother that she was right. There is also her fault here because she insisted on going to this concert. Chi-Chi also told Shihao that she had lived for several thousand years, and only now met a person like him. It's not scary to die next to him. Shihao noticed that his forces were restored. This is Chi-Chi's special ability. He completely forgot about it. He apologized that he made them worry, and he asked not to depress the atmosphere. They now need to save the rest. They are obliged to save everyone. The girls replied that this time the last performance really. Li thought that she already had enough strength, but it feels that there were even more. The boy replied that it was because he transferred control over this world. He invited the girl to remember the former, and so she began to sing. The body of the offended child is completely covered with injuries, but she asks to believe that salvation is not far. The crowd around noticed Sei Li. She sings again. They were delighted that she did not give up. They fly again. Are they really in paradise? Finally, they are saved. Shihao said that they all have to return home. Sister agreed with him. Lee continued to sing, "Never give up, believe and fly. Find love, find hugs, find hope." The guys shouted that they were still alive. They all survived, they did it. It would have been very dangerous a little bit, and they would die. They blew up the portal. The guys could not understand who did it. Shi Hao did not want to throw him until he got the case. The guys noticed this guy who took first place. He saved them. Is he really so cool in real life? Dus wanted to get lost in the crowd until they noticed him, but Shi Hao managed to see that this guy wants to fuel quietly. Dus asked the owner to forgive the awesome fool, and called himself an ordinary coward. He asked him to give him another chance, and he would prove that he was worthy to serve. Shi Hao replied that he really should think about the importance of moral values. But while he cannot let him go, because he can still be useful to him. Meanwhile, the guys captured Days. They took him. Deuce exclaimed that this is fine. He could at least somehow be a useful owner. His life still makes sense. Shi Hao thought that this madman would no longer help, but he can find out from him valuable information about the ancient monastery. Lee said that they finally met in the present. The girl who was nearby replied that her body was still restored. "You need to go slower." Shi Hao called a girl by name. She was very weak and fell into his arms. He asked her to be careful. The girl fell on him from powerlessness. The woman nearby called her a sloppy child. Now she needs a vacation, but she wanted to see Xiao Hao as soon as possible. The woman explained that she briefly told her about what had happened. He really was able to save everyone. She thanked him for everything. She and the organization are grateful to him. They will not remain in debt. They will wait a couple of days while everything is tired, and then maybe they will contact him. They said goodbye to the boy. Shi Hao replied that he was in no hurry, and he asked to take care of Lee. It cannot be that such a large organization was hacked by a grouping. This is very suspicious. Perhaps the organization started in the organization. Suddenly, Sue appeared. She went to Shi Hao. She was delighted that he was safe. She hugged him and said that she had to leave after meeting with him. Who would have thought that such horror would occur during the concert? She was very worried. The boy asked not to worry, because he is in order. The girl wanted to make sure he was intact. Now is not the most suitable place, but she should tell him urgent news. He asked which. The date of the beginning of an important mission was postponed to the day after tomorrow. All clans of the 10th level and higher should join the task. She did not expect that his clan guild of kings would also be on the list of participants. Shi Hao did not expect that so many clans were going to prepare for some serious battle. In addition, his clan was created recently, and they are only at the 1st level. The girl replied that this time the competition will occur in the Colosseum of the War. All the details he can find out in the terminal. Shi Hao said that he should not climb into it. It is immediately clear that this was not done out of good motives. He remembered the location of the Colosseum of the battle. This is not a very ordinary place. The level of monsters is much higher and is far away. Inside this location is full of bosses. The Kanmo clan will have to quit all his strength to pass this quest. Who knows what is hidden in the open spaces of this location? It's good that the reward will correspond to efforts. Sue said that she still has unresolved things, and she should go. Shi Hao asked if she participated this time in the quest. The girl replied that yes, but not in the midst of the battle, but in the rear. Since she is responsible for the supply of various materials, she will support them. Fei told her brother that she had heard everything and also wants to participate. Chi also asked to take her with her, as she could help. Shi Hao replied that they were completely not ready for such a difficult battle, especially since they are not members of the detachment. Fei just asked to enter their names on the list, and that's it. She really cannot cope with some problems because she does not have enough strength. She should train more to become stronger, and she is not going to hide behind him all the time. Shi Hao said that even if he agrees, she would need to promise something to him. Only in this case will he allow her to go with them. The girl asked what exactly. Shi Hao explained that within 2 days, he would give her a sufficient number of ancient magic stones. She needs to rise to the 40th level. Then he will be able to take her with him. She was very surprised, not understanding how possible and where he would take so many magic stones. Shi Hao asked to leave this task to him. He has a friend who is responsible for minerals. The girls asked in what sense it was. Chi understood everything, and told Fei that she would explain everything to her. Ancient magic stones are not like ordinary magic stones. More power is concentrated in them. If we talk about increasing the level, then thanks to such types of stones, he will receive more experience. The main characteristics are also increasing. This process greatly exhausts strength and endurance. Some 1 in 10 stones are too many, but she is absolutely confident in the strength and endurance of Yunfei. She thinks that the girl will be able to achieve a better result. The cat told his owner that he did everything as he ordered him. The production of stones is successful. The boy stroked the cat on the head and praised him. He copes perfectly. Shihao asked him to continue in the same spirit. Dragons asked not to take all praise for themselves. There are some secret places that they help to find. In truth, even with their forces, it took several days to find the location of magic stones. This was completely difficult. Shihao praised Jialo. The dragon asked not to thank him. He saved his life and it is already worth a lot. Shihao replied that he would definitely thank him for his help. The only thing you need to transfer this to his world. Next time, he will surely reward him. Last time, when he created these machines with the help of a master of engineering, they did not work as badly as it is now. Artificial intelligence is still not perfect. Feifei was surprised where so many ancient magic stones came from. Does he really own the prey of minerals? This is the right decision to place such precious things inside the building. Who knows what can happen to them? Can these stones increase their level? The boy asked his parents not to worry about such stones still full. The most important thing is that they can improve their skills. Now, when he is not there, they can stand up for themselves. Yunfei has already begun to increase the level. He asked his parents and Nanu to join. They immediately decided to try. Then the parents asked the guy to give them the opportunity to rest a little. They are no longer young and their strength and endurance are not at all the ones that were before. Shihao answered them that there was enough for today and they can rest. Feifei asked her brother to see. She did everything. She increased her level to 45th. Parents praised the girl. Shihao was very surprised. She achieved this level in just an hour. Apparently, she is one of those gifted, can increase the results by 70%. I wonder how Nan's business is. Nana wanted even more strengthening. She raised her level to the 60th. Shihao asked her whether she was all right. Nana replied that everything was fine with her. She also managed to reach a high level, whether she can go to the quest with them. Shihao realized that he had created the perfect car. Regarding the quest, he hopes that they will not have big problems, since they all need to gain combat experience in battles, and this will be an excellent opportunity. He asked the girls to join the battle detachment of their guild, and they go to the quest together. The girls were very happy, but they all must be neat and listen to his teams. Nana noticed that this moron agreed so easily. Then this is a great opportunity in the bustle of the quest to end it. Everything was almost ready. They will wait for an answer from the sister of Xu by the future quest. The system began confirmation. Guild of Kings of the first level. Xiao Commander. Confirmation and uploading information went. Quest Coliseum of War Pioneers. The kid could not understand why such a big difference in levels. From 40 to 130. Entrance to the Quest Pioneers. The systems explained that he will have to get into the cave full of various dangers. For the first time, the cave was discovered by a collector of magic crystals, after which he sold the coordinates of the place of the group at a high price. The group decided to go to the cave study, and after 2 kilometers found the entrance to the quest. For several weeks they fought with Elitos, guarding the gate to open the door of the cave. Since the level of danger is too high, they decided to send a drone that helped them inspect the territory. The area of the territory is 50 square kilometers. The levels of monsters from 40 to 130. The number of magic crystals is excessively high. The drone provided the images made during the study, after which he was shot down by the boss. But before the destruction, he was able to send some information. They should prepare very well for the battle. This will be their first mission in the framework of the quest. Not far from the temple there are deposits of useful materials. It is necessary to create a base for resource production. Shihao realized that this quest was too dangerous. It seems it was not worth allowing the sisters to go with him. The more people with a low level, the more difficult. Probably someone specifically inscribed his guild into this list. It looks like they will be an outsider. Everyone will mock them. Shihao asked what the mission of the Guild of Kings in this quest was. The system explained that nothing is known now. It will become clear when they go to the quest. The boy decided to wait for what the difference is what awaits them. He has no right to miss this opportunity. He has the skill of an engineering master, so he does not think that he will be useless. Tomorrow you will need to check the drawings for the creation of cars. But the system said that unknown contact wants to contact him. Shihao became interested in who it could be. Yes, and in the middle of the night, probably some scammers. Meanwhile, the central park of the 8th district. Shihao was already sitting on a bench and thinking about why she wanted to see exactly at night even in such a place. Miao Ro approached him and immediately apologized. She explained that she had lost her little dog and asked if he had seen her. The boy replied that he unfortunately just came here. Can he help her with the search? The girl thanked him and explained that he had a black sheer, black and white clothes with an orange strip. This dog is the name of Shishe. He asked if she was in Huan. Well, she disguised himself, even he could not identify it. The girl asked not to speak so loudly. Even at night they should be more accurate, especially about her personality. Shihao admitted that she has a talent for disguise, because he is very well versed in this, and she was so easily able to conduct him. He asked why she decided to meet him late at night. That it bothers her. He was already going to bed when she wrote to him. Shishe explained that this is relative to the upcoming quest. Does it seem very strange to him too? His guild having only the first level unexpectedly appeared on the list of participants. At least the 10th level is needed. Shihao replied that he was thinking about it too. Since they look after him and his people, it should be the eldest of the Moscow region. If suddenly he thought of this, then he is really smart. Senior Modix is currently the head of the board of directors of the Hanmo clan, and his sister Mocha takes the next position in the council. It is no secret that the sister and brother completely control the internal and external affairs of the clan, despite the fact that both of them are high by the level of government. Due to popularity among the smaller layer of the population and family treasure is great support. Also, a lot of people use the influence of Moki to control the MOCI. This kind of circumstances make them enemies. Shihao said that he would really have to resist many high-level clans. What other troubles await him there? The girl replied that they would not dare to resort to their actions at the very beginning of the quest. It is necessary to let them be disappointed in it, and then interest will disappear. Or show their strength so that everyone has surprise and at the same time fear regarding him. Shihao replied that he did not care how high or low her level of government. He said that of course he would choose the second option. And he asked the girl why she suddenly decided to warn him. And it can do expensive. Shishe explained that she did not want to get him into family showdowns of some people. It is terrible when you lose freedom and control over your life. Now he can make his own choice. She never had such a right. Shihao asked why. Can't she control her own life? The girl replied that the stigma and shackles that were removed in the process of growing up still do not leave her. She was born in a completely poor district. Once her parents went to look for food and did not return. She ate the remnants of the garbage found and did not know when she finally darkened. Every day people were dying in this district. Once, when searching for food from China abandoned by fate in the district, she noticed the attack of bandits on the caravan. In the middle of the caravan, she saw one very beautiful boy. Although he was younger than her, he was not afraid to repulse the enemies. Instead of being afraid, he used minimal magical abilities in order to at least somehow repulse the offenders. Suddenly, she saw a company of people heading for him from behind them. They cannot retreat in any case. This load is especially important for their company. They will not allow it to steal it. She saw a robber attack this boy. They don't even know where this confidence and speed came from. But she immediately rushed to his aid. He probably already guessed that this boy was Mr. Moti. The next day, the district lost one weak girl, and a new warrior joined the Kanmo clan. A meeting with a young master has become a turning point in her life. She was no longer worried about the difficulties in the extraction of food or clothing. The young master even helped him improve her combat skills with training. So she became one of the commanders in the clan. Therefore, her life does not belong to her. She will no longer run away from her fate. The Hanmo clan will not let her go so easily. Although she has long come to terms with this, they still do not cease to envy him. Because he is free. Therefore, he should not climb into the internal struggle for the power of guilds. The most important thing is that they remain with him allies. Shihao did not think that she had such a fate. In her words there is sense, but he does not agree that she has such freedom about which she speaks. Only when he can achieve all the heights of her words turn out to be true. In front of him appeared Van Meng, 125th levels. He told Sister in Huan that she was too far. Her life is one big secret for them. To surprise, she opens her heart to some boy. How disappointed he is. The girl asked Van Meng how he ended up here. Did he really follow her? 110th level. Such a feeling of oppression is really some kind of unusual. The guy exclaimed that he could not fall asleep, learning that she had left the house. Is this not called concern for her? Such beauty goes for a walk at night, and if she meets a bad person. As a result, he did not think that she would conduct pleasant communication. Or in Huan fell on the hook of She Chao. The boy asked him to calm down and asked who he was at all. In Huan explained that his name is Van Meng. He is the second commander of their guild. Usually he protects her. but she did not think that he would follow her. Shihao said that he had heard about Manga. They say that all warriors in the Guild of the Art of War are elite, and he is also a commander. The guy replied that he certainly could not be compared with him. If he does not know, now every guild is discussing him, a young star. Shihao explained that he was no need for anyone, but the guy asked him not to be shy. After all, he wanted to recruit Huan from the hands of the boss. Then he is definitely not an ordinary boy. He began to attack Shi Chao. The boy asked what he was achieving. It turns out he attacks with his bare hands. It is not surprising where he gets so much power. Van Meng exclaimed that this is a man's business, and he asked the girl not to intervene here. Shihao agreed with him. But if this is a masculine business, then he asks him not to hide real power. The guy thought that his first blow was only 60% of his full strength. He thought that was enough to kill him. Van Meng was 125th levels. He noticed that the blow of Shi Chao was also strong. The level of this kid is interesting, no less than 100th. Now he certainly will not succumb to him. Van Meng said that he forced his sister and Huan to suffer. She was also punished by Gildia. He will not beat this guy, otherwise he simply will not be able to fall asleep. The guy explained that since he prevented her from eliminating the boss, In Huan was removed from his position. The girl asked him not to talk about it. Van Meng continued to explain that she was also told to attract him to their guild. Otherwise, the punishment would be even tougher. But she never wanted to recruit him. Shihao did not think that a good heart was hiding behind such a cold appearance. In Huan said that she thinks Shi Chaos will be able to defeat the boss on her own. She gets him too much into her affairs. Shihao replied that he was the first to raise the topic. He is responsible for his words, so he uses the opportunity given in the test and will help her return to his position. Van Meng glanced at them, noticed that they were worried about each other. In this case, he is calm, and they can see Xiao Hao in 2 days on the quest. In Huan told the guy that although she believes in him and his strength, he should not treat this negligently. This time they are waiting for a difficult test. Also, their representative will bring his team. He should not provoke him. Shihao explained that he could take everything into his own hands and would not be thorny, and she should expect information from him. Although his sisters increased their level, they still have problems with the inventory. Therefore, they should look into the black area to update their arsenal. Just he earned money since the last time, but he completely forgot that the girls are able to spend an incredible amount of money in the shortest possible time. In the morning, they spent more than 3 million. Fei Fai thanked his brother. Now their inventory has been replenished. The girls asked Xiao to see their things. The boy replied that everything looks super. How can you be ugly, spending so many? He began to reassure himself that he did not earn money in order to improve the arsenal to relatives. He himself needs recipes for engineering. He decided to ask Modi. Maybe he has something. Modi said Xiao Hao that was no problem. There is no need for this. It was he who entered his guild in the test list. It was the idea of Mocha. It became easier for her when she heard his confident words. Yet he was not alone to the quest. When the time comes, 3 representatives will come from it. They should meet. It is also worth being careful and returning whole and unharmed. Mocha sent 30 recipes for engineering. The topic asked to confirm. Xiao Hao was very surprised. This is the whole fortune. Indeed, it is not surprising that she has a good reputation among ordinary people. This gives more and more hope. Tomorrow they are waiting for the first day in the trip of the Guild of Kings. And here is the safe arena Hanmo. How many people were there? Guild of Kings of the first level. Fei Fai noticed that everyone also had a high level. It's good that they increased their own in advance. Otherwise it would be very ashamed. Shihao asked his sister to calm down and get used to this atmosphere. The guys around noticed that very Guild of Kings under the leadership of Shihao. The guy exclaimed that if he meets the Guild of the Art of War, he could get to them. Now he is a participant in the Guild of Kings, and will be mean to throw them. Suddenly, some men noticed the girls, and asked where these swallows came from. Have they decided that this path leads to warm islands? Who allowed the first-level guild to participate in the quest? Men could not understand what they could be useful. They will only interfere under the feet and spend their time. Liang's son was the head of the Guild of Grey Howl. Luofeng asked not to respond so about their girls. Shihao advised him not to be led to a provocation. Liang's son exclaimed that it was Mocha who pulled Xiao from the bottom of the bottom. However, he does not understand how he was able to steal the boss on which In Huan hunted. He did not expect a small kid to do it. Even if he was lucky then, he does not advise to relax now. Each mistake can lead to death. Van Meng appeared unexpectedly and asked Liang Sun not to interfere under his feet. He immediately asked the commander for forgiveness, because he stood in his way. This is his fault that he did not see him. He went to Shihao and said that they met again. He asked the guy feels. Is he ready for stripping a new quest? Shihao in response greeted his brother Wang. He thinks that stripping a large dungeon will mainly lie on their shoulders. If it turns out, he will fulfill the task set for him. How it could be so honest, Van Meng envied his quality. He suggested introducing him to his guild. The boy agreed. He asked to greet his commander Hong Van Zhou. He is the first commander of the entire Hanmo clan. 130 levels. The bald head with an iron head is a Sing. And the girl's healer is called Dan Lu. They are not particularly talkative. Lei asked his brother Van not to courteous to imagine everyone to this noun. He is not worthy. Ron Yunxiao said that according to Shichao you can't say that he is strong. It is interesting what happened to Inhuan. The commander wanted to leave. The boy asked him to wait a bit. He explained that he was to blame for what happened to Inhuan. He hopes in the future he will have the opportunity to work together, and then he will correct his mistake. The boy pulled his hand to the commander. The men from the side said that this boy wants to make friends with the commander of Hong. He definitely crazy. Such a large guild will not be found with such a baby anyway. What to press the hand of Mocha himself? The commander went to the guy and shook his hand in response. He said that he hopes that the words he said would not disappoint him and Moki. The men were very surprised that the commander Hong himself shook the hand of this Malza. He does not even notice them how he drew attention to him. This is probably some kind of illusion. Van Meng wished Xiao Hao good luck and asked not to forget about Inhuan. The boy replied that he remembers her. When he shook his hand to the commander, he had the feeling that he was scanned. This commander is definitely not simple. He hopes that he could not climb into the system of his body. One of the guys asked Xiao Hao whether what he said. Is he really going to cooperate with their guild? Shi Hao replied that it was. The commander of the guild of Windy Clouds Lu Jiangfeng told the guy that his sister asked to look after him. But his actions make him think about whether they are on the truth on one side. If he does something behind the older sister, he will make him so that he could not get out of the quest. Shi Hao thought, unless his actions indicate that he does not really want to deal with Mocha. He just showed the art of war by the guild, as Yinghuan wants to help. Let them think what they want. He still needs to think through the plan of their path. One of the guys told his teacher to the chief engineer of the Kanmo clan, Lai Si, that the teleport is ready to work. You can run it at any time. The chief engineer gave the go-ahead to launch a teleport. The guys immediately raised their hands up. It is not surprising that this is a great master of engineering. He spent only 1 day on the installation of a teleport, when others lack and a week. How cool he is. They asked the master to tell their secret, and they were ready to give all their inventory for him. Shi Hao noticed that he was really good. Not at all like him, he used only his knowledge to achieve the level of an engineering master. This is really impressive. Meanwhile, the base of the Kanmo clan. Didn't they say that they would build a new base? People could not understand what happened and who destroyed everything. Why there is so much blood. Chi-Chi went to Shi Chao and said that she was feeling a very bad smell. Apparently the battle occurred here. The boy asked her not to be afraid because he is nearby. Apparently, a group of monsters attacked the base and arranged a bloody massacre. At such a high level of the quest, apparently not everyone will be described in such detail. It looks like this mission is not so simple. The system notified the task. It was necessary to protect the Cave of Crystals. Shi Hao thought that in order to rebuild the base, they would need many minerals. This car is too old. It shows that she experienced more than one attack. She was also repaired several times and the level was too low. Fei noticed that she was very noisy. It seems that she will collapse at any moment. Some man exclaimed that with these eccentrics they placed in one group of him. What an bad luck. The most important thing is that they also gave such garbage transport. How to earn command glasses. Fei asked why the command glasses needed. The man realized that they did not know anything about the quest, so that they do not fall into trouble because of their ignorance. The old man will explain everything. Regarding command glasses, they can use them to gain the experience of the guild. The more points they will accumulate, the higher they will have a level. They can also use glasses to purchase objects in the store. Essence, combat equipment, minerals, potions, various types of materials, scrolls or recipes. There are completely different kinds. Naturally, the more glasses they have, the better they can buy objects. Therefore, command glasses are all for them. This is the old man's dream to score a huge number of points. They will always be few. But in front of them is a junk that is completely unable to get a sufficient number of crystals. Whether the old man will be angry when they can get almost nothing. Shihao exclaimed that their goal is the production of crystals in the cave and he likes it. Therefore the problem is not so and big. The old man asked Xiao Hao what he was going to do. Do you really get crystals with your own hands? This method will be even slower. He was very surprised that the guy could cut Nini-level crystals. What is his plan? The boy asked him not to rush because he would soon understand everything. He asked Weiss if they would manage to merge between this machine and a crystal. He wants to make an improved version of the car in the cave from it. The robot agreed with his master. Luo Feng laughed and exclaimed that the commander was again in business. There was a secret trick of the merger. The old man asked what the guy had in mind, speaking of a secret trick. What else was it? A crazy digging machine in the caves. It is better not to stand in her way, since everything is seen in her eyes. Men were very surprised at where this engineer's ability came from. He who knew that this boy has engineering skills is also capable of creating a 90s car. Shihao told Nana that this car scanned her. She should look for 90s caves. They are more than ordinary ones. Nana exclaimed that it is not surprising that it was their commander. He is able to create such cars. She really likes it. The girl thought that these words are really from a pure heart. So to say, she made him a compliment. She told the commander that she had discovered a 90s cave, right under their legs at a depth of 5 meters. Shihao could not understand. Was it really in such a huge amount? They would never be able to get to them by car of a 40 level, especially when there are so many prey. He gave the team the girl to launch the girl. They were surprised how this car became even more. Feifei asked Chi-Chi whether everything was all right with her. The girl replied that everything was fine, just a little scared by such a huge car. But there is a feeling that something is wrong with her. Li asked the guys to look down. They really saw a lot of 90s level crystals. What happiness is it? A cave of magic crystals of 90s, epic quality. Here you can earn a lot of points. The men around were very surprised. So many points received by such a huge number of points. The cave of the 90th level can only be found by one who has a 90th level equipment. Only a high-class engineer can create such equipment. The old man asked the guy what he compares. The naked look shows that this is an unusual kid. It is special, and at the same time very suspicious. The man went to Shi Chao and said that they did not know at all who deal with. They asked for forgiveness for their insults. Shi Hao replied that nothing was afraid. He saw a lot in his path after all. They are in the same team. They should not be at enmity. Receiving command glasses is also their share. An invisible intelligence officer appeared. What happened to the King's Guild before they were in the last place in the list? How they managed to get out for the first. At first they robbed in Huan, and now they were able to get so many crystals. An ordinary person is not capable of this. This guy definitely hides something. The old man thought that suddenly this guy was able to turn a 40-level car into a 90s car. This guy has special engineering skills. Although his level seems to everyone as the 10th, he would never be able to achieve 90s of engineering and create such a machine. What can be a class of engineering? He was even able to see their invisible scout. Ordinary people cannot notice them. The commander asked to return the unmanned intelligence from the District D7 back. This drone was created by him personally, but he could somehow notice him. Players who have a less high level of engineering skill are not able to discern it. Shi Hao noticed that the drone flew after him. Apparently they were still watching them. This is good, so he had a little free time to inspect the location. The boy asked not to leave the location, but so far he is scouting the situation. The man answered him that leaving the place of task is a violation of the rules. This quest is supervised. The director can check at any time. Shi Hao said that it's okay. He promised to return very quickly. The man asked him to return as soon as possible, as he could not cope alone. The boy noticed that there is another base. As possible, because the description of the assignment was not said. Apparently this base was specially hidden, or due to the fact that the level of his guild is too low. They did not send information about it. Do the clan Huanzheng also have a base in this location? He recalled that Mocha said that 2 clans Huanzheng and Hanmo were commanded in this quest. Why exactly here? The 2 largest clans are very closely monitored by this place. Probably a big secret is hiding here. He can not only reveal this secret, but also inflict great injuries to the clan Huanzheng. Now he has a great interest in this place. First you need to dig some information. Home base Huanjing. One of the warriors said that recalling the last time he was here very hard, all his fears came true. The second warrior replied that he at least got out of here alive. The last time they did not have a battle strategy. Now it's not at all like that. First you need to wait until the people from the Kanmo clan complete the prey of fossils, and then you can rob them. Shihao continued to watch them in the form of a ghost. The guys said that people pondered everything from above in advance. Is it really a creature that has an unknown level to get out of the den? Shihao wondered who it could be an unknown level, whom these warriors are talking about. He did not think that this clan had a creature like him. The boy ordered the system to launch an all-seeing eye. The ability of the all-seeing eye is launched, used to explore the base of Huanzheng. The number of people is 50, the lowest level of 60, the highest level of 140. Shihao thought that this was the highest level that he met for all the time. Even he became a little scared. He asked the system to allow 140 level to look at the guy. Where is this miracle? But it was Sulu. It turned out this young girl, and there is such a 101-time creature. It's hard to believe. And he thought there would be at least an old man or a grandmother who has seen life. Meanwhile, Lee woke up. The man asked for forgiveness, apparently because he was talking too loudly. He apologized for disturbing her peace. The girl called the man impudent. How he dares to watch her. She raised her hand up, apparently wanting to punish the guys. She asked Hanmo why they did not study anything. Shihao noticed that his eye was tracked. He thought that they were able to remove him so quickly. However, these guys almost spun him and secretly followed them. Is someone from the clan Hanmo capable of it? Lee said that it was a regular test. Shihao thought that it was good that he managed to remove the eye, otherwise this terrible woman would instantly recognize and attacked. Who would have thought that she was capable of this? Apparently this time the battle will be completely unusual, since on the one hand Hongvan Zhou, and on the other hand, there. What secrets are hidden here? First, you have to return to the base. Although he was not quite able to figure it out, he got a little new information. It was not for nothing that he decided to fly to reconnaissance. Long Hua asked the guys where they're head of the Guild of the Kings of Shao. The director immediately learns about the violations. Do they really think that this will all get away with them? I did not think that right on the first mission they dared to run away. Their command glasses will be removed. The man told Director Long that the commander of Shihao had taken leave. Since he ate something stale and his stomach was twisted, he did his needs somewhere nearby. When the boy returned, the man was delighted that he had finally arrived. He advised the next time before the quest to eat good food. The man winked at him. The guy played along. Shouhao smiled and replied that he was to blame. Yesterday he ate something expired. Today he had already gone to the toilet several times. The director was surprised that this freak was also daring to laugh. Shihao thought that this man abuses his position. There is always one or two beetles in such a large organization who think they are above all. He answered the director that he knows that he was mistaken, and he asked if he wanted to punish him so that the man would take his glasses, but did not take them from everyone else. The director replied that he would take points from everyone. The kid wondered why this fat bug treats him like that. Has he sent him to Mocha? Then a man appeared and asked the director of Long not to rush. He asked to transfer the case of Shi Chaos into his hands. It was a Barky C. The director replied, then if the master wishes it, let it be in any way. Just do not handle this boy gently. He still needs to examine the caves. To himself, the man called this guy a lousy. If not for the master of engineering of their clan, then he would not have left him so simply. He will look further how he will protect the boy. La Yesa asked Chichao to go with him. He has a couple of questions for him. This man definitely has authority. For a couple of words, he allowed the director of Long. It is strange that he appeared here. How many monitors in this room? Apparently that drone was also sent to watch them. The man told the guy that he was smart enough. However, this order from above, they are just office workers and no more. Although it is surprising that he noticed something interesting. When he saw that his first-level guild was also involved in the quest, he was surprised. But then everything became clear. La Yezi said that he would never have guessed that such a young guy owns such engineering skills. Can he assume that he at least mastered a high level of engineering? The guys were very surprised that this little one has a high level of engineering. Most likely, God was presented with God. Shihao was surprised at these words. He really came across. It is not surprising that he is a master of his craft. From this man not to hide anything. He asked what he wanted to do with him. The master replied that he wants to invite him. There is no doubt that he is a rare engineering genius, and staying in some teams can only slow down his growth. He offers him to dissolve the first-level guild. Shihao thanked the master for the compliment. But his interest in engineering is just a hobby and no more. He has no great interest in him. The guys around were very surprised at the answer of Shao. How he can say such things. being owned by a high level. Does he really want to say that it is too easy for him? Shihao answered. He did not want to belittle the difficulty of engineering at all. On the contrary, he believes that this is a very heavy craft, only he is forced to abandon such an amazing offer. The master said that he was a little sorry, but he could not make him. He should not worry about command glasses, the director will not write them off. The master said that such a service would not cost him the wrong thing. The day will come when he will need help from him. So far, he cannot say when it is, but he must be ready. Shihao exclaimed that the master is quite kind to him. If he needs something, he will do everything in his power. So they agreed. Meanwhile, the alarm worked. The master asked to remain calm. Hong Vanzhou told the commander that they had unexpected circumstances that he should know about. The master asked him, did he not fully investigate the location in advance? The guy replied that the situation had changed for the worse and switched to an unmanned camera.